All right, what up, guys? We are live. So we had a little change of plans today. I know initially we were supposed to do a speed stream. So what happened with that was one of the girls bailed. The other girl was still down for it, but I don't really like doing them with one girl because I feel like it's like too much pressure. And then this opportunity came along, so I figured let's do a little tomfoolery debate. So yeah, man, nice to meet you. I've never heard of you. Torshaa messaged me about this yesterday, so maybe you could give like a little audio introduction to my audience about who you are and like what you talk about.
Yeah, my name's Tom. I go by Tomfoolery, Tomfoolery Show on YouTube. I do a ton of debates, lots of research, talk about all sorts of different topics, mainly in like linguistics and philosophy, politics, that sort of stuff. I met Torshaa recently, and so I started getting a little bit into the red pill area and learning more about it, and so she asked if there were people that I wanted to talk to or debate. You're the guy that I know in the red pill that actually does debates, so I told her to hook us up.
Just to be fair, I'm not really a red pillar. I do agree with some red pill beliefs, but I'm not a traditional red pillar. I'm not like a Myron Gaines or like a Rollo Tomasi. I have fundamental disagreements with like large parts of the red pill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, sure. Okay. So Rollo, Torshaa said she's driving. She'll be here any minute, but we can get started before she gets here, so we're not keeping the audience waiting. What did you want to debate with me about? What did you want to discuss?
I mean, there was nothing specific. Like I said, I'm learning more about like the red pill stuff. I could have sworn I had heard you numerous times say that when you were talking to Destiny, I thought that you were black pill, but my audience,
No, I'm
the
not. I'm
red
definitely
pillers in
not
my
black pill.
audience say that's not true. Yeah.
No, I'm definitely not black pill. The black pill community fucking hates me, or they love and hate me. They watch my streams so they can't stand me. So no, I'm not a black pillar. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not really. Yeah, I have some. I mean, guess you just have to ask me specific questions. I have some beliefs that very much line up with the red pill about certain things, but other things I disagree with. Like I agree with very much like the self improvement aspect of the red pill. I think that you want to, as a man, get your value up as much as possible. I agree with the fact that the sexual dating marketplace is very competitive, especially in 2023. I agree with the idea that there's some problematic girls out there, and you want to screen those out, and you want to be very cognizant of looking for red flags. I agree with the idea that marriage is probably not the best idea for the majority of men. So yeah, we just have to go point by point. And I can tell you where I agree and disagree.
Wow. Why you're so marriage is probably not the best idea for men. That's very surprising. You came up as a what do they call it again? Like you help people like hit on other people, a pickup artist,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
So why would you be against marriage?
I'm not against marriage, right? So I have no problem with people getting married, and big part of my family, most of my family members are married, right? My cousins and all that. I just don't think it's the best idea for for men. Because it simply offers no advantages. That's really. I think that a good time if you want to have kids, then you probably should get married. But if you're not interested in having like children, right? I think that there's no benefit to you like legally getting married. You're better off just like dating a girl and being in a relationship with her, because then if things go wrong, which 50% of the time they do, it's easier to walk away. It's not messy. You don't have to spend money on lawyers.
That makes sense. Yeah, if you don't want to have kids, I suppose it does make sense not to get married. So you're not against like the idea of marriage, or you wouldn't like if somebody says, "Hey, I'm getting married and I want to have kids," you wouldn't recommend them, or you wouldn't say it's a bad idea.
No, I mean, if it was a friend of mine, I would go to their wedding. I've been to a lot of weddings. I'm not like anti-weddings or anti-marriage. Yeah, I mean, if they want to start a family, I do see the benefits in that situation of getting married. First of all, like I think primarily for social reasons, because like that kid at school, he might get a little bit of shit where it's like, oh, like your parents aren't married. And I think if you're having also like you're having children, you want to actually make it harder for parties to walk away, right? So if there's no children involved, you want it to be easy to walk away if things don't work out. But actually, I think that if there's children involved, you don't want to be too easy to walk away, right? And marriage could cause someone to reconsider walking away, because of the complication involved with it. When it comes to kids, that's a good thing, right? But if there's no kids involved, that's a bad thing.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So when Torshaa messaged me, she said that you guys wanted to talk about the Destiny debate from last night and as to whether or not women look for status and money. I think she said look, status, and money. Is she going to disagree with that? Because I don't think I'm going to be the one who's going to disagree with that.
I don't think she would disagree with that either. My whole thing, so okay, because yeah, I feel like we didn't coordinate this super well behind the scenes, but that's okay. It's no worries. We can just figure it out now. Um, so I actually thought it would be a good idea to talk about the debate last night. I actually even wrote down like 20 pieces of notes. Like I wrote down like actually 15 bullet points of things that like disagreements I had with Rollo. But Torshaa asked me kindly if we could avoid talking about Rollo because of their whatever relationship. So not sexual relationship, just a professional relationship. Well, as far as we don't know for sure, but that's what I'm assuming it is. So I'm gonna respect her wishes. But yeah, we can talk about like the general topics. So in
Yeah,
terms
her
of
and I got into a bit of a heated fight over the first Rollo appearance on Fresh and Fit, so I can understand why that she wants to avoid that.
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I think you and I probably. I mean, what's your general position on Rollo? Like, my personal opinion is that he's super cringe.
I don't know enough about him, so she was the first person to tell me about him. She's kind of the one like pulling me into the red pill stuff. I kind of exist in like the Twitch politics space with like Destiny and Vosh and all of them. And so once they started talking about this stuff more, I started talking about it more. And and so I don't know enough of the big name characters to really say much about them. Rollo, when he's around other people who can challenge him, he seems like a cool dude. He seems to have fine ideas. I don't have massive disagreements with him. But anytime I review his videos where he's talking about conservatives or he's talking about blue pillars or liberals or whatever, I have massive disagreements with almost everything he says. So far, I feel like I'm getting like night and day from him depending on when I'm watching him.
Okay, I think the only point of disagreement we might have is I think he's cringe when he's around other people and when he's by himself. In terms of the initial thing that you said about like the status of money, so I do. This is one area where I disagree with Red Pill on. I think the Red Pill tends to significantly overblow the importance of money when it comes to attraction. I think they overblow that. Status is different. Status will make a massive difference in attraction you get from women. Money, not so much. I think money is more of a threshold thing. So you just don't want to be poor or broke. But if you have like an apartment that's like in a decent part of town, right? You have a car, you can get around. You don't really get significant benefits from going from that to like rich, unless you're paying for sex or you're going for sugar babies. If you're just doing traditional dating, like no pay for sex, no sugar babies, right? You're just dating a girl, whatever, like she's dating you for you. You're not going to get a big advantage from going from being middle class to upper middle class, from upper middle class to super rich. The only time you could get advantage is if your money is able to give you status. So someone like Elon Musk, for example, right? He's so rich that he actually has status from that, or like Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos, right? So they will have a massive advantage dating marketplace. But again, I don't really think it's because of their money. It's because they have the status related to money. So I think those two need to be separated. I think the big disservice like the red pillars are doing, like Fresh and Fit, is just saying, oh, well, once you get to a point where you have six figures, once you get your money up, dating is going to get a lot easier. But that's not the case. I personally been poor, or whatever, like in a first world country, so it's not that poor. But I've been at a point where I'm making like nothing, like $10 an hour, and now I'm like comfortably in the six figures, and there's been no change in my dating success, no change in attraction. If anything, I would say I'm having sex less now with other girls because I'm more focused on my business. So in some ways, there's actually advantages to not being like really rich when it comes to sex, because you're just gonna spend a lot of time focusing on your business. So yeah, that's the one big point of disagreement I have with the red pill, is that I think they completely overblow the importance of money when it comes to attraction.
I think I completely agree with you. So people generally date within their socioeconomic class, and this is something that I talk about pretty regularly. There's dimes in every all through every class. Like there's hot chicks in all of them. So it's not like you can only get them when you're the super rich guys. There you can find hot babes or married to guys or dating guys. Pretty much everywhere. And yeah, like I said, people are dating within their own socioeconomic class for the most part. I think that in the United States and in like the Western world, money represents status probably more than anything else. But I generally give an example of like a guy in in the boonies who every Friday night, everybody goes to the rodeo and they watch the rodeo. This guy's a mechanic like 5 days a week, but on the weekend, he's the best at the rodeo. And everybody goes to the rodeo and everybody cheers this guy's name. He's freaking, super popular with everybody. That guy still has status. He's still a guy with status, and he can still get the hottest babe in this town because everybody loves him, everybody likes him. Popularity is status. Confidence can give you status. Being funny can give you status. There's all sorts of ways to gain status, and you want to gain status within your socioeconomic class primarily. And then, yeah, the best looking women generally within that socioeconomic class are the ones that you're going to be able to find.
Yeah. Well, I also, here's a good belief you might disagree with. By the way, Torshaa said she'll be here in 20 minutes. She got the timestamp, the time difference wrong because she's in a different time zone. So she'll be here soon. I actually, okay, so this is, maybe you'll disagree with this. I think that status or substantial status that will help you with dating is inaccessible to the majority of men. Like, meaning it's accessible for me because I'm a YouTuber. So if I gain millions of subscribers, that will help me get laid, right? If you're maybe like a club promoter, it can help. If you're some kind of an influencer or something like that, that can help. But the most people have like standard jobs, like you're working in marketing, working in tech, working, being a plumber, being a electrician, all that stuff. Status is not really accessible for those people. At least not like any kind of substantial status. Maybe like very local status within their like club or within their friend group. So maybe very local status, but universal status, like the way that, celebrities and other people can get, isn't accessible for the vast majority of people because of their careers.
I think status, the way that red pillars talk about it, sure. But that's why I added a bunch of other types of status that we can get. Like being popular is a type of status. If people within your friend group all like this guy, they all think this is a nice guy, or he's a trustworthy guy, or he's like a really funny guy. Huh?
Local status.
Yes, I think that's mostly what's going to attract people, because most of the people that you're going to meet are going to be where you work, where you live, where you go to church. Like, it's all going to be people within your community. Generally, most people are dating people around them and within their own socioeconomic class. So there's all different types of status. Generally, like I said, I think like Red Pill looks at status as just money, and I don't think it's that simple. I think that women look at status as a ton of other things. I've never had issues getting women, and I've never been super rich. I've never been an uber wealthy guy, but I've never had issues finding like very attractive women who are willing to date me or who seek me out. Generally, it's never been a problem for me because there are a bunch of other things that come with it. I'm not ripped. I'm not big. I'm not, I don't work out a whole lot. I don't do any of these things, but I think that a really important thing that people look for is the ability to have conversations or, have a high social awareness. I think that that's more important to women than anything else. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a few things I want to expand on what you said. So, You said about like the being super rich thing. Yeah, I mean, I've had like countless clients who are like, who were like worth more than 7 figures, like people who are millionaires, never billionaire, but I've had multiple millionaires. And if you see what I see, how many of those rich guys struggle getting laid, struggle getting anything, a lot of them are just paying for sex, directly or indirectly, with prostitutes or sugar babies. So I've seen more than enough people firsthand who were struggling, rich people were struggling, that I know that money is not the game changer the red pill makes it out to be. Now, look, I do think there's probably some level of diminishing returns to go from 6 figures to 7 figures, right? I do think that it's not going to be like zero. There's going to be probably a little bit of a diminishing return type of advantage, but it's not going to be substantial like it would be with status. So I think we have to also differentiate between local status and universal status. So everything you talked about is local status, and I agree with you that, right? Like becoming popular at your job, or popular within your club, like your bowling club, or just your community, or like some club that you frequent, can give you increased success with women or increased attraction, right? But it's very situational. It's only going to be during that one thing. Mm-hmm. What I was referring to is more of like universal status, which is like, like doesn't matter which group I'm in, like people will, like, as long as we're in a first world country, like people will generally know who you are. So again, stuff I was talking about is like professional athletes, influencers, like celebrity stuff like that. So I don't even think we're disagreeing. We're just talking about 2 different types of status. Yeah, like local status, I think is available to most people. It might not be like a massive game changer like it would be to achieve like universal status, but I'm sure it will help. I mean, it depends on the situation. How, like if your company is 10 people, or versus your company's 1,000 people, it's obviously going to be better for you to be popular at the company that's 1,000 people. Also, how many of those are men? If it's tech, it's like 90% dudes. I don't know how much that's going to help you, but if it's a company that's like 70% women and you're the most popular guy there, then even though no one knows you outside that company, you might have like insane ability within that company as long as you don't get fired with HR. So yeah, I think we kind of agree on this, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. The thing is that even like on dating apps or on like for people who are, on YouTube or celebrities or things like that, these are people like people who end up dating through these avenues are rare. Like most people are meeting people locally. Most people are still meeting people. Like dating apps are not a large percentage of people getting married just yet. By far, the majority of those are still people meeting locally and around where they live. And so I think that when you talk about a local status, that's generally what I'm talking about, because I think that makes the biggest difference. And I think that disproves a lot of what red pill and incel type people think, is that, local status shows that there are so many people who don't have to make like 6 figures in order to get a hot girlfriend or in order to get married. They're able to make it just fine without any of that and still find people locally.
What percentage of people who you think recently got married met through a dating app?
I can't remember the last time I looked at it, but I wanted to say I believe it was less than 20%.
I just pulled it up. It's 22%.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So basically 1 in 4. I do think it depends on the demographic. So that percentage, 22%, is like people age groups. I think if you go to like 18-35, it'll probably jump up to like 30-40%. Yeah, I mean, I think that still most people are not meeting on dating apps. We did an experiment where I basically went up to couples on the street and asked them how they met. And it was like dating apps were like maybe 1/3 or something like that. There's a little bit of a sample bias because I was approaching good looking girls. I wasn't approaching like old ladies or something like that. And it's in Miami, the center of Miami. That's going to be probably different than like East Bumblefuck, Kansas. But yeah, so it was still less than 50%. I do think it's increasing. I do think it is going to keep going up. But yeah, as of now, the majority of people are not meeting online. It's just like a lot of people in this community are very disconnected from that because they spend their whole life online, right? So they're not really in touch with like what the average normie has. You see the same thing in politics, right? Like the left and the right, they're so in their like bubble. They're not really cognizant of what like normie people think when it comes to elections.
Yeah, I live in the suburbs right outside of Atlanta, and there's nothing on dating apps. Like there's nobody there. And most anybody that actually is on there are like 20-30 miles away from where I live. So but if I'm in Atlanta, there's tons of people. There's tons of women. There's a large variety of women. But when I'm, 20-30 minutes outside of Atlanta, there's nothing on there. And I would assume that that's what most suburban areas are going to be like, is that they don't have a large amount of people who are like going to clubs, going partying consistently. I think that that's generally the types of people that you're going to find on dating apps more often, is people who are looking for are more comfortable in shorter term relationships.
Yeah, by the way, I think we're kind of is there anything you want to touch on this topic before I move on to the next one?
Nope.
Okay, so here's maybe one thing we might agree or disagree on. I don't know. So I generally tend to agree with Destiny on most things, but this take I very much disagreed with. So he was pulling up some study. I don't really know what the study is, but it seems like total BS to me. That was saying that like that basically the premise was that obese people have a very similar success with women as people who are in shape. So he was saying like the average body count for like a really fat dude, like grossly obese, was like maybe 10, and for like a fit dude, it was like 13. So he's basically saying there's no substantial advantage when it comes to women to not being obese. I think that's pure nonsense. I think that if you're obese, you're at a massive disadvantage. Could there be a really fat guy who is good with girls? Sure. But if we're talking about averages, I think whatever fucking study he pulled up, which I'm sure was self-reported because that's the only way you can monitor these things, I think is probably heavily skewed. So I don't know how you feel about that, but my crazy position is that being obese is a massive disadvantage when it comes to dating.
I think so. It depends on if we're talking about long-term or short-term dating. I would assume it's going to be a huge hindrance to be overweight for short-term matchmaking, but in long-term matchmaking, I don't think it generally is. I think that normally women are, like we talked about, I think that they're normally looking for other things like personality. Do you make them laugh? Is there chemistry? Some sort of status? I think that the way that you look to a woman changes massively the more that she gets to know you. There used to be this stat, I don't know if you remember this, but it was said that women decide whether or not they're going to have sex with you or whether or not they're willing to have sex with you within the first 2 seconds. And that's just insanely untrue. Like the way that women see you and how attracted they are to you changes massively over time, the more they get to know you and the more chemistry they have with you. And I think that somebody who is overweight has just as much of a chance as anybody else because there's all of the other things.
Yeah, we're going to heavily disagree on that. So I think there's a common misconception that I see a lot, that short-term dating is fundamentally different than long-term dating. In reality, there's massive amounts of overlap. In order to start long-term dating, how does that start? By getting the girl, by sleeping with a girl, by starting off a short. So most relationships, they start off as something that's like kind of like both parties not sure where it's going, kind of short-term dating, and they evolve into long-term dating. It's pretty rare that you have a situation where two people meet and like on date one, they're discussing that we're going to get married, we're going to stay together forever. You kind of start off, typically at some like short-term level, and then you build on that and go to long-term level. So in order to be successful at long-term dating, you still have to be able to get your foot in the door. If women are not attracted to obese guys for short-term dating, they're not going to be attracted to obese guys for long-term dating. Now, and the thing is, those obese guys, the vast majority of the time, won't even be given a chance to show how awesome their personality is. They won't get that far because the girl will initially reject their desire to date. Because again, keep in mind, it's not like guys are going up to girls saying, hey, I want to be in a long-term relationship. Would you consider marrying me, right? You're starting off by approaching the girl and saying, hey, do you want to grab a drink sometime? Hey, do you want to grab dinner? That's how short-term and long-term dating starts. They both start very, very similar, right? But you're not going to get a yes to that question if a girl finds you physically repulsive.
I don't think that's true. I think that most of the time, both short-term and long-term relationships start with you meeting the person and having some sort of overlap at work or in a friend group or things like that. You know each other through some sort of common activity that you share. And then over time, you get to know each other and then eventually approach each other. Most people aren't doing cold approaches where they're just walking up to some random person that they've never met before. And at that point, if you do have this overlap and you are seeing each other, you're bumping into each other at work or at the gym or at church or whatever, you are getting to know them. And in those instances, the person who's obese versus the person who's skinny or ripped, these people all have the same chance to show that they have a good personality, that they're funny, that they have like high social awareness. I think that these people will have similar chances since most relationships start with them just knowing one another.
Okay, so first of all, a few things. First of all, it's less than 50% of couples meet through in the type of situations that you're describing. I just pulled up a statistic. It said that 39%, this is in 2017, this was a survey of over 5,000 adults. 39% of couples met through online dating, 27% met at a bar or restaurant, right? So that collectively puts it at about 60 something percent. 20% met through friends. It used to be 33%, 95. Now it's 20%. 11% met at work, 9% school or college, 7% through family. So if we add the bottom up, we say 11 plus 9 is 20, plus 20 is 40, less than 50%, slightly below 50% met in the ways you're describing. So even if what you're saying is true, that like when it comes to meeting through friends or at work, that being obese is not a disadvantage, that would still affect less than half of the couples that meet. And furthermore, there's also this whole thing like guys, girls will typically friend zone guys or not friend zone. And once you're in the friend zone, it's pretty hard to get out of it. So if a woman meets you like at work and she finds you like physically repulsive, but you're still very friendly, chances are she's going to friend zone you. Sometimes it is possible to get out of the friend zone, but that's pretty rare. Once a girl friend zones you, which she does to guys that she knows through these warm environments that she has no intention of having any sexual with, it's pretty tough to get out of that. So I just fundamentally, I think based on both of those points, think that your assertion that for long-term dating, it's not a disadvantage is fundamentally off.
So it's not just that, okay, so if we're looking at overall couples, yes. But if we're looking at people who end up having like long-lasting marriages, by far the majority of them are with people that they already knew. So something like, I think it was Forbes that said that somewhere around 45% of people who get married or have successful relationships end up or met through work alone. And that's just work. Then we add in other things like church, like the gym, like, you know, seeing each other at the same bar consistently. Like, these are people who know each other long before they actually end up hooking up or starting any sort of relationship. And that seems to be the majority of relationships.
Well, actually,
that
what you're saying is not actually true. So I just pulled this up. It's a Bustle article. This one specifically looks at married couples, like married couples. And the ratio of meeting online is lower. It's 20%, but through friends is only 17%. In college is 15%. At work is 12%. So that still puts it at maybe 50% that are meeting in the type of situations that you're recommending, like married couples. So what you're saying that most of these, like, you know, married couples are meeting through, I don't know, through like these warm environments like work and social circle isn't true. It's about half.
Well, so on the Forbes advisor that I was quoting, it has 43% for people who met at work. That if you just add 7%, you know, of anything, you're now at 50%.
Well, you have to show me the article, because every source I'm looking at is different than what you are. I mean, what's the parameters of the study? How long ago was this done? I mean, those are all the relevant factors. If this was done like 20 years ago, then I could totally envision that being true. But like the two pieces of data I just pulled up are like very different than what you're saying.
Yeah, sure. This goes over a bunch of different types of data, mostly people meeting through work.
So let me share my screen and we can just take a look at it together.
Okay.
%40 have cheated on their partner with their colleagues. The first thing that pops up. Okay, let's go to the top. So workplace, the survey shows off employees. Now, when was this done? This was done in 2023. Okay, it's recent. Workplace statistics show that 60 have had a workplace between low outside meal pipeline and degree probability. Through our survey, 43% workplace, 40% workplace involves exceeding an existing partner. Okay. 57% report workplace relationship have impacted their work performance. 43% have married someone they worked with. 35% don't report their relationship to their employer. 40% cheat on their current partner with a coworker. 50% report forwarding with coworker. I don't know if this is like really necessarily a good thing. This is interesting because this is I want to see how this was done, because this is very much different. Workplace romance increased the fear. This is very much different than the data points that I've seen. But even if, let's just like assume this is true.
So what you were talking about is different, where you're talking about just like couples overall. These are talking about people who end up getting married, and that was what I was trying to separate between what you're talking about.
The second thing I pulled up was I'll just show it to you. But the second thing that I pulled up was specifically married couples. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, so Bustle article. Okay, so it says that this is married couples, 19% online, through friends, 17%, in college, 15%, at work, 12%. So that's why I'm a little fishy of the data, because it's pretty different than like most of the things I've seen. So I don't know if that experiment was conducted properly. I mean, let me try to find another data point, but it seems that like that most of the things I see. Okay, let me take a look at this one.
So there's another thing from Zola. I just have like a doc with a bunch of different links in it that talks about this stuff. So this one says top places where couples meet: at school. Number 2 is online dating. Number 3 is through friends. Number 4 is at work. And then 5 is at a bar. 6, Facebook. 7,
So that's the whole point, is that work is like 3 tiers below online dating.
Sure. What I was saying is that most people who are getting married are meeting people through some sort of overlap that they already have with their life, where they have time to actually get to know these people before they're actually asking them out. That most people are not just doing cold walk-ups to somebody they've never met.
I'm not saying that. It's not just cold walk-ups, right? That's part of it. But the way most normies would define that, they wouldn't say cold approach. They would say, "Oh, I met her at a bar," or "I met her as I was in the park, as I was walking my dog." That's how most normies would describe that. When you combine that with online, I think you get somewhere around 50%. So I don't think it's like 10% when you combine those two things. I think you get somewhere around 50%. And my own like experiment that I conducted, where I was asking couples how they met, it was something like it would for the experiment that I conducted, it was something like 60% were a combination of online and cold approach or whatever, meeting someone through day-to-day life. It was about 30 to 40% that was college and work and through friends. But either way, let's just split the difference and say it's like around 50-50, right? So
Okay.
that would still be a substantial amount of people that are disadvantaged because they're going to be disadvantaged with cold approach and online. But so let's just investigate then the people who are meeting their partner at work. I still think that if you take two coworkers, all factors being equal, right, similar status of the company, similar social skills, similar confidence, similar charisma, similar access, one of them is grossly obese and one of them is in good shape. The one that's in good shape will win 99 out of 100 times. Like
all else equal, I would agree. Yes, all else equal, but I don't think that. So,
but then you would have to prove to me that fat people have better social skills than non-fat people.
Well, I'm saying that what you're talking about is not as much of a factor as I think people believe it is. So when we're talking about long-term dating, whether or not somebody's in shape for women doesn't seem to play as big of a part in whether or not they're going to be attracted to the person, whereas the other things do seem to matter. Like the whether or not they're in shape is normally like pretty low towards the bottom of priorities, whereas like all of the other things that we're talking about are going to be pretty high. I'm not saying that necessarily somebody who's obese has just as good of a chance, but I would imagine somebody who's obese they're kind of forced into working on other skills than other people. They're probably forced into being funny, into, you know, being more socially aware, into being able to make jokes about themselves or have like a high tolerance.
It could just as easily go in the other direction. They become depressed. They start lacking confidence. They spend all their day online. They cope with masturbation and alcohol and drugs. It could just as easily go in the other direction. In fact, I think it's more likely to go in that other direction because most people, when faced with adversity, they kind of shut down. It's not a lot of people who like really push through like massive amounts of adversity. That would be the first thing I would say. And I think also just in terms of like the in shape, non shape thing, I think it's a threshold thing. So if you're a guy who's like, slightly out of shape, like whatever, average body, right? I don't think you're a substantial disadvantage to someone who's in shape, right? But I'm talking about obese people. I'm talking about people who weigh 300 pounds. Like, how many obese people do you know that are successful in their dating life? I personally can't think of a single one.
I live in Georgia. It's actually fairly common that like really big guys are with really beautiful women. And I think it's fairly common in like the.
But do you know any of them personally?
Yeah, I know lots of them personally. It's like same thing at the church that I went to. I'm no longer religious, but when I went to church, there were always very big guys. I think that it represents like, it looks like somebody who's really big anyway, somebody who's powerful, somebody who I think women like a guy who's really big, which is why
they don't like, no, there's a big difference between a guy being like big and muscular and a guy being obese. They're not the same thing. So maybe I need to like show a photo of like what I mean, but I'm not talking about like kind of like the lumberjack dude who maybe has a little bit of a beer belly, but he's got muscles. He's
big. We're not talking about dad bods.
I'm talking about a dude who's like fucking like obese as fuck. Like we're talking about a guy who weighs 300 pounds who can barely get into the car. That guy is going to be a massive disadvantage for whatever type of dating. He's going to have to overcompensate with something else, like maybe status, or maybe he has the best personality ever. That could, to some extent, overcompensate. But the issue is that most women, when they're going to see that guy, they're going to find him physically repulsive. Let me, I guess, flip the question. Do you think that for women, being obese is a massive disadvantage when it comes to dating?
For women, yeah. Of course, yeah. Like you're saying men wouldn't want to date a woman who's obese.
Yeah. So why would this be substantially different?
Because I don't think women care about looks as nearly as much as men. So generally when we're talking about like what people are looking for, it seems like there's always this threshold that gets you through the door to where other things matter. For men, the top thing is looks. You have to look good in order for me to care about your personality or whether you're funny or whether, you know, you're driven or any of these things. You have to look good first. Whereas for women, that it is not looks. It is something like status, or it's something like confidence, or, you know, something like that, but it's rarely ever looks. And then the next like 5-10 things aren't even looks either. There are a bunch of other things as well.
I'm going to side with the Blackpill on this one, but I disagree with that. I don't think looks are as important for women as they are for men. I will concede to that. Sure, they're not as important, but I still think they are very important. And if you don't meet the girl's looks threshold, most of the time she's not going to give you the time of day. Now, where I disagree with the black belt community on is I think the looks threshold is much lower than they think it is. I think it's like a Chad. I think it's just like if you're normal looking, like you're probably going to be okay with most girls. But a guy who's not normal looking, a guy who's a beast, right, who physically is repulsive to most women, he's not going to meet their threshold. They're not going to even give him the chance to show off his confidence or his humor. And if it's in a work environment, instead of rejecting him, they'll just put him in the friend zone.
Yeah, maybe. Everything that I've looked at that kind of puts everything that women are looking for into a list. So, like, most of them have like a top 10 list, and at least half of the ones that we went over on stream didn't even have looks as part of the list. But for men, it was always number one. It was always the very first thing.
But girls are
so
going
when you're asking me to compare one to the other, it doesn't seem like a fair comparison. When I think women care, I think whether or not you're attractive to a woman, I think looks are just so far down the list that it's not nearly as important.
No, I don't think so at all. I think it is definitely going to be near the top of the list. And I think, again, I think it's a threshold thing, right? So I don't think you have to be like a Giga Chad to be like successful with girls. I just think that if you're like 5'2" or you're like a beast, you're going to be at a massive disadvantage. You can still push through it and get yourself a girl eventually, but it's going to be a lot harder. Or if you have some massive disability, like if you have I had a client who had cerebral palsy. I didn't sugarcoat and say, hey, man, it's like, yeah, you have the same chance as me. I'm like, dude, it's going to be way harder for you. You have to put in way more work, right? So I don't want the message to be like discouraging. That's impossible. It's just going to be a lot harder. And I think you have to be cognizant and realistic of that. And I think I'm also not really that interested in what girls say they want. I'm more interested in what girls do and their actions. So because girls will virtue signal all the time. They'll say, like I used to do this in studio podcast where I would ask girls, what is the most important thing in a guy? And they would always virtue signal. They'd say, oh, I just want him to be nice. Oh, I just want him to treat me well. They would always say that as the most important thing. And then I'd say, okay, let's take a look at some of your ex-boyfriends. And then it was like fucking like Jack tatted guy, like fucking drug dealer or something like that. It was always like their actions never really match what they say, at least when it comes to that. So yeah, I think we have to look at more of their actions rather than what they say. So any survey where girls rank what she's looking for, I think is just not that interesting to me because there's going to be so much virtue signaling, and I think it's going to be largely BS. I think you have to really look at girls' actions. Who do they swipe on Tinder? Who do they date in real life? Who do they tend to date, right? And I just personally don't see many hot girls dating fat guys unless that fat guy is overcompensating with something like status or he's paying the girl money, has some kind of quasi sugar baby type of relationship. But in terms of just like pure relationships, I don't know if I've ever seen it, in all honesty. I do think there's maybe a little bit of a generational thing. So if you're talking about people in their 50s and 60s, it's probably way less of a big deal than it is for 20s and 30s. But I think especially the younger generation women, 20 and 30s, are quite superficial when it comes to looks. And the idea that they don't care about that, I think, is just not something that any girl at behavior will actually reflect on that.
Yeah. So I agree that there's going to be some sort of compensation. But there's always a compensation. There's always like you have more of this thing, so they're going to care a little bit less about this thing. You have a lot more of this thing, so they're going to care a lot less about this thing. That's kind of always the way it works within, seemingly to me, with women. There's also the stereotype of like the super hot babes marrying the bald, short dude who's who nobody understands why the hell she's dating this guy. This seems to be insanely common where everybody's like looking at a guy who doesn't seem attractive whatsoever, but he's with these super hot babes all the time. I like, in my experience, looks are part of a package, but they just don't seem to ever be like a top priority unless we're talking about short-term dating, like something like Tinder or dating apps, stuff like that. But when it comes to women looking for actual relationships, they seem to care very little about that stuff. Like girls that I've talked to about dating fat guys, where they say that they like how, they like cuddling with them. They feel a lot more secure with them. They feel like they're just bigger and guys are going to be less likely to mess with these guys, even though, yeah, like it's fat, it's not muscle, but that's the way that they look at them. That's the way that they see them. They feel smaller around these guys and they enjoy feeling small. So yeah, there just seems to be a lot more to it than like when you say compensating, obviously there's going to be other guys who have less personality, but they can make up make up for it with looking good, right? Or they have less status and they can make up for it with having bigger muscles. Like, obviously there's always going to be some sort of compensation. So I think regardless of what we're looking at as like this main characteristic, there's always going to be compensation one way or the other.
Right, but I don't see any evidence that obese guys will compensate positively with other attributes. In fact, my speculation is that it's the opposite. That a lot of them get really discouraged and become incels, or just spend their whole day like playing video games and shit. I don't think the majority of fat guys are like, you know what, I'm fat. It's gonna be harder for me. Let me develop my humor. Let me develop my confidence. I don't think most fat guys are doing that. I can't really prove that, but that's just my speculation. So yeah, in order to convince me of that, you would have to show me something that convinces me that fat guys are like cognizant of the fact they're disadvantaged, and furthermore taking action about that and compensating with other attributes like humor, personality, status. I don't really see any evidence of that. Also, I think another interesting piece of data point is this is an experiment we sort of done where we used to go up to girls and we show them pictures of guys, different guys, and ask them like, "What do you think about this guy? What would you rate him?" Right? And we didn't do it with a fat guy, but we did do it with an unattractive guy, right? And typically when we would show girls that, they'd be like, "Ew, no." Like their primal reaction was no. And I'll be like, "Oh, well, what if?" I would follow it up with like, "Well, what if he's really a nice guy? What if he's really confident? What if he's really cool?" She's like, "No." Right now, of course, there's a difference between women saying what women do, but when you see that like primal reaction of girls are like, "Ew," right? Like that guy in any environment is going to have a hard time getting his foot in the door.
Yeah, I again, I think that generally most relationships start with you just being around the person, and I think that already gets your foot in the door. Like you're going to have more trouble with, huh?
That's only 50% of relationships.
Again, it seems like only 50% of relationships are have to do with work, and then it seems like there's a ton of others that are going to have to do with church, that are going to have to do with like meeting through friends, meeting through like living around one another, like going to school with one another, like that. It seems to be like 70 to 80% of relationships are.
Yeah, I don't want to squabble over statistics, but I think that
Mhm.
it's over or close to 50% of couples they meet either through some kind of cold approach or through online. I think it's especially nowadays. I think the church, not a lot of people go to church nowadays, but even church, like work, friends is like maybe around 50% or slightly less. But again, like we can just go back and forth in different studies on that. I think that would probably a little boring, but I guess okay. I wanted to like kind of put a face to the name because maybe we are thinking of something different. So when I say obese guy, I mean someone like this. Is that who you were thinking of too, or were you thinking of something different?
I mean, not the face. Obviously, that face is going to have a lot more trouble. But I'm talking about somebody around that size. Yes. It's like, even when you're talking about incels, it seems to me like most incels are not obese people. It seems like they're just people who don't have a whole lot of social skills, or seem to be like really far behind in social skills and are very awkward.
I agree with you on that. Actually, no disagreement on that. I just don't think this guy's going to clean up unless he is the funniest motherfucker ever. He's like Gabriel Iglesias, or he has like massive status. I think this guy's going to struggle. Is there going to be some girl at some point who will be willing to overlook his fatness and give him a chance because he's so awesome? Sure. But when we compare him, like if we're looking at like overall like body count, let's just say something like that. Let's say we're doing some kind of a pickup competition. We take this guy and we take a guy who's in average shape. The guy in the average shape will clean up. We'll put this guy to dust. It won't even be close, when it comes to that. But that's not saying that this guy can't get laid. He will at some point. Some girl will, kind of take pity on him or whatever. But I think the best thing this guy could do is actually lose weight and not be the beast guy anymore. And I think that I don't know. I just cannot imagine like them being like on the same playing field even.
Yeah, sure. I think that guy's got a lot of other issues. I think that you can be fat and still good looking as a guy. I think that like if you're what's his name, something Corden or Jack Black or who was the dad from Roseanne.
Well, Jack Black isn't really fat though. He's a little chub, but I don't think of him as an obese guy.
I think he goes up and down. There's times where he's a lot skinnier and times where he's a lot bigger. But yeah, like the dad from Roseanne is a good example. Like especially if you're tall, if you're like 6'6" or not even that tall, 6'3", 6'4", and you're really big. Like I think that these guys still have a really good chance in the dating market. I think that being fat is just going to be one thing that is either going to help you or hurt you. And I don't disagree that being fat can hurt you. I don't think that it makes nearly as big of a difference as other things like status or personality or, you know, whether you're funny, whether you have chemistry. I think that those things are going to matter a lot more.
Well, it's one thing you said that, which was, oh, what's up, Torshaa? Are you finally joining us?
Are you guys starting? I need a recap.
We started like 45 minutes ago.
I told you to stall.
Yeah, Torshaa, I'm gonna stall for 45 minutes. Yeah, I'm just gonna.
I made
it. Tom, what's your favorite color? What do you like to do for fun? Do you like long walks on the beach?
Hold
Tom?
on. Well, it would have been good to build rapport. You should change the thumbnail though, because I'm not in it.
Us debating is us building rapport.
We don't have a thumbnail yet, I believe.
I know I'm posing. I love
going back to the point. So there's one interesting thing you said, Tom, which is height. You're like, well, if you're 6'3", you obviously like that can compensate.
Hold on.
What is it, Torshaa?
Change the thumbnail so I'll share it. I run this shit.
I don't have a thumbnail.
No, there's just screen grab right now. Duh.
I don't know how to do that. I'm gonna have my tech guy do it like afterwards. I don't know. I'm bad with
technology. I'll do it.
Okay.
Got it.
Thank you, Torshaa.
You're welcome.
All right. Anyway,
I look high. Okay, wait. So, what is your fucking topic?
We don't really have one. We're just going through topics because
perfect. I'm gonna change it.
Wait, no, hang on. I want to finish this one, then you can change it because we're literally about to wrap this one up. So anyway, so you said if you're taller, you have an advantage. I do agree with you that, but you do know that Destiny's study was talking about something differently. So Destiny was also saying that height in of itself is not going to make a massive difference. He was saying the guy who's 6'3" will, more or less be in the same ball field as the guy who's 5'3". You would not agree with that, would you? That a guy who's in 6'3" will be in the same playing field as a guy who's 5'3"?
Similar to the take about fat people, I think that it's going to hurt them, obviously, but I don't think it's going to matter nearly as much as the other things that I mentioned.
Like what?
But you think that a guy who's 5'3" can actually be with sleep with a decent amount of women? Unless he's famous, for example, a guy who's 5'3" can just be banging, slaying chicks. I just find that insanely rare.
It is rare. Again, you're just talking about more things that are going to disadvantage the person. But if we're talking about somebody who's autistic, who doesn't have any social awareness, that's not, they're not capable of making intimate connections with people or reading body language. These things are going to hurt you a whole lot more, I believe, than being short. I think that that's going to be or having no confidence, not being funny. I think that all of those things are going to hurt you a lot more than your height or your weight.
I guess it depends on how not funny and how boring and how short. I think if you're over 5'7", you'll probably be okay most of the time. But if you're 5'3", I feel bad for that dude. Torshaa, would you ever date a guy who's 5'3"?
I actually have.
You have? Really?
Yeah, I've dated a jockey. He had other stuff going for him.
How tall are you, Torshaa?
5'4". 5'4" and something. I don't know, 5'3" or 5'4". I think my ex was actually 5'2".
That makes a little bit more sense. Yeah.
They have to be teeny tiny. Alex.
I don't know if I believe you entirely. I need to see a photo of you.
Do you know what a jockey is?
Yeah, it's those dudes who ride horses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They compete.
Yeah. Professional horse racers or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very outgoing. Everybody knows them. I worked at the track and stuff, so.
Yeah.
Well, there's
fun.
There's 10 of them out there, but yeah, sure. I'm sure they're cool people.
Well, this is the example that I was giving with the guy at the rodeo where he doesn't have to have, he can be a freaking mechanic, but every time he goes to the rodeo,
Oh.
everybody's chanting his name. Everybody likes him. Everybody, you know, high fives him as he's walking down the street, and they're all super excited to see him every weekend at the rodeo. This guy's got status. This guy's going to be pulling babes left and right. And he's not rich. He may not be good looking. He may not have anything else going for him, but if he's got status and he's popular, then he's going to be able to pull.
Right, sure. You can overcompensate with other things. The problem is that I think that a guy who's 5'3" on average has as much status as a guy who's 6 foot. In fact, he's less likely to have status, I think. But let's just discount that and assume that that's not the case, that like most CEOs are not over 6 feet. I think that he's as likely to have status, humor, confidence as a guy who's 6 foot, who's 6'0". Therefore, because of that, since all other factors on average are going to be even, there will be substantial, distinction when it comes to success with women based on height. Right, because again, there's no real data or evidence, anecdotal or scientific, to suggest that guys who are 5'3" or guys who are beasts are making up for it with other things like humor or status. I've never seen any evidence of.
So
Never
I
seen
think
a
what's
fat,
important
funny guy?
to take into consideration is that lookism exists as well. And so even guys who are good looking and who are taller are going to have a better chance at getting better jobs and making more money and making more friends and having higher status. Like everybody who is good looking are going to have more chances or more opportunities at more things as well. So I think that like taking all of that into consideration, yeah, of course, somebody who's taller, somebody who's better looking, they're just going to have a lot more opportunities than other people.
Yeah, so then we don't necessarily even disagree. We're just squabbling over how much. Kevin Hart would get laid more than Alex. 100% true.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'11", 6 feet on Tinder. I would never deny the opposite. But how many short guys do you think are Kevin Hart? Kevin Hart is a 1 in a million. He's a famous celebrity. He's really fucking funny. He's really outgoing, fairly charismatic. Like most short guys are not Kevin Hart.
How tall is he?
He's short. He's like 5'4", 5'5" or something. I don't think he's tall.
I always.
By the way, also, I
like
just want to clarify about like this, because a lot of people are thinking that I'm like been converted to the Blackpill. I have not. I've had these positions for like pretty much my whole life. I've always said that looks matter. Like go back to my streams 2-3 years ago. I said, yeah, I think looks are like 50%. I always thought looks matter. I just don't think they matter as much, nearly as much as the Blackpillers make it out to be. Right. So I will, if you're going to tell me, oh, looks are the only things that matter, I will disagree with you. I will think you're wrong. If you tell me that, or looks are the like by far the main thing that matters, I will disagree with you. But if you say looks barely matter or don't matter, I will also disagree with you. Right? My position is somewhere in the middle, so that's why I disagree with the extremes of that, which is the black pill and I guess the blue pill. All right. Hopefully, I just clarified that. But yeah, we can move on to the next thing if you don't have any more to say on this topic.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. So should we talk about Torshaa's Lyme disease?
No. I don't know if I have it.
Yeah, because you ain't getting tested, motherfucker.
I know, because I just started making money again. So it's like, $600 for a fucking test. Why can't they just give me treatment?
$600 for like my lifetime health and like my well-being.
America, baby. Like I'm
Christ.
fucking living on the edge. I've already
You
gone.
want me to
like
start a
a decade.
GoFundMe for you, Torshaa, get you the Lyme test?
Yeah, that would be helpful.
I've offered to do it. I've offered to do it. You said no. Or you
I would document my journey for show.
I don't want to do it for show. I just want to do it because it's an illness I've had, and I feel bad for people who have it. I don't want like anything out of it.
How are you now after 2 years now, or a year and 6 months?
No, I'm 6 to 7 years in of treatment. Actually 8 years. How am I now? Well, I'm a lot better than I was before I started treatment, but I still have like health issues. It's a very tough disease to beat, and the longer it goes, the harder it gets.
You look healthier.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I like
You're
live a
welcome.
pretty good life.
I didn't think you looked sick before, but you're glowing.
Well, the thing is that Lyme typically doesn't make you look sick. You just feel sick, like just
right.
You're sleepy. But yeah, a lot of like people who have Lyme disease are like really normal looking.
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying that they're like fucking weird. No, I don't mean that.
Yeah, having Lyme disease will make you do crazy shit like date a 5'2" horse jockey.
True. He was great. Shut up. I had a great time.
All right, so Torshaa, so what was the topic that you said you wanna discuss. Let me actually use the restroom while you guys quickly figure it out.
I just got him so excited.
Have you ever dated a fat guy, Torshaa?
Have I ever dated a fat guy? No, I don't think so. Let me think. Would I? Probably not. Weight is one of those that maybe if he was really tall, but like I don't know.
Do you go to the gym a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's going to make a big difference if you go to the gym a lot, or like fitness is a big part of your life.
Well, no, you ask a fat guy, are you attracted to fat girls? And it's like they are, but it's not. They're really not. It's a thing. I see it at the bar. I've never seen objectification until it was men and bigger women, even if they were bigger. I don't know. Just that's like one of the things. Jim, he asked me if I would date a fat guy. Probably not. I don't even think they're on my radar, and I don't mean. She was also saying
that fat guys aren't really attracted to fat women though, and I don't think that's true at all. Like
I said, unless it's like some guys can fetishize it, or they like it because it's easier to get and it's in their pool, but like other than that, they wouldn't want to be with a fat woman.
But your attraction changes based on what you can get, like what you like and what you're attracted to. Not the general.
That's what I said though. That's what I said is like guys can kind of make it like if a guy goes with an older woman because they're easier, he'll start to go for older women because it's less of a buffer. So it's like one of those things where it's like, do they want one though? That's just like going to be a toxic relationship in my opinion. But
yeah, I don't think attraction changes. I think just your actions change. So if you're if you're not successful with women, you might date unattractive women or fat girls or whatever, but that doesn't mean you're like, that's your first choice. Your first choice is still that hot girl. So I don't see any evidence that like your attraction will change based on what you can get. If you get a lot of girls,
you don't think so?
No, I think you become a lot pickier and you're not
okay.
But your attraction level will be the same.
Let me ask you this. Where do you think fetishes come from? They're a thing. Men could fetishize a rock. No, it's totally
different.
No, it's not.
I don't know if I thought about that. I don't know if it's like something you're born with or something that's developed through some kind of like a
developed. It's not traumatic, actually. That's really.
I honestly really don't know much about fetishes, so everything I'm saying fetishes.
You have the sock puppet on your stream, and you don't know shit about fetishes. What's his name? Slave. Stop. I'm sorry, not sock puppet.
Oh yeah. Do you think I like explore his psyche when it comes to fetishes? That dude creeps me the fuck out. I mean, like, I'm not gonna.
Wait, I thought you were friends with him. I thought it was all a joke. Is it not?
No, it's not a joke. He hasn't been on my. He was never my friend. He was like an internet friend, maybe. He hasn't been on my stream in like months. He said he's quitting. I don't think so. I think he just said he's quitting my channel because I don't know. So
dramatic.
Because he got butthurt over something I said or whatever. I don't know.
I love how he does that. He always flips it. He always flips it on us when we reject him.
I mean, yeah, he's just a very damaged person that I wouldn't really want to keep having a bunch of interactions with. Also, he took some really cringy positions, like pro pedophilia positions. At that point, I was like, okay, this is too.
Speaking of Tom, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's do. Tom, I was trying to run ideas through Alex. Is there anything maybe Redpill specific that you were like, I don't know if I really agree with that, and we can see if Alex disagrees, find something?
I don't know. I wanted to jump into the video as soon as possible, but I had other things happening at the beginning of stream and I didn't make it all the way through. So I don't know what all that they were claiming. It seemed like for the most part, everything that I watched, they were agreeing for the most part.
And, you're talking about Rollo, Fresh and Fit, Sneeko, them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's what you told me to watch to have this conversation, and I didn't make it all
the other day. Yeah, but we today we weren't gonna do it.
I think Torshaa, I think you and Tom probably have a lot more disagreements than me and Tom or me and you.
Oh, shut up.
I think I'm probably somewhere in between both of you, honestly.
No, I want to moderate.
You can moderate. I'm just saying. I don't know. I guess we can start off. Just tell me specific Redpill things that you've heard in general.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you if I agree or disagree with them.
Oof, that's hard because I feel like we already went over.
We only went through a small part of it. I mean, we've gone
So
through like
what was something? Just name something and go.
well, we wound up agreeing on a lot of things, but we went through. We talked about attraction for obese guys or for short guys. We spent a lot of time talking about that. What else did we talk about, Tom?
We talked about how people meet one another and like how often they'll meet at the workplace or at like have common overlapping activities.
What do you think is the biggest disadvantage for men in modern dating?
Social awareness, for sure.
Really?
I would broaden it and say lack of social skills. There's some narcissists who have poor social awareness who are actually pretty good with girls. It's not great for long term. It's gonna like fuck you up, but you can actually in some cases lack social awareness and still be successful if you have that like insane like god level of confidence, which like narcissists sometimes do. But yes, I would broaden and say social skills. I do agree that social skills is probably, if I had to pick, the biggest disadvantage.
Do you think women are fucking the top 4% of men?
Like all women, some women, like who? Not all women, obviously.
Like what
all
percentage?
women. I'm trying to form a debate between you two.
I think there's some. I think the top 4% of men are definitely having more sex than like the bottom 4%. But no, I don't think most women are fucking the top 4%. I think that's like a red pill fantasy.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't believe that.
Yeah, it's just not the case. I mean, I remember when Fresh was saying that he thinks that something like 40% of girls in Idaho are getting flown out, to Dubai. It's like the most ridiculous thing ever. It's like, dude, it's less than 1%. Like, what are you talking about? But
yeah. Okay.
Did he actually say that? I hear this as a meme all the time. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, he said 30 or 40.
30 or 40.
He probably meant 0.03. I don't know. Give him the benefit of the doubt.
It's a tiny.
What's your chat saying? They want you to talk about.
There was actually one interesting thing. This guy who's usually a dipshit actually had a pretty interesting thing. He said, "Ask Tom what he thinks about the PUA community."
Yeah, see, I wanted to do something PUA related. I didn't know if it was a good idea. Do that.
Yeah, I don't have anything against pickup artists. I think that like it's an important skill for men to build, and I think that that's gonna especially help them with their their social interactions. Yeah, I think that one thing that I think gets confused is like I think that giving somebody a cookbook doesn't necessarily mean that they know how to cook, right? You can give them step by step how to do something, but that doesn't mean they're actually going to be successful with it. Once they actually learn social awareness and social skills, then they're able to like interact in any scenario. They're going to be cool in any scenario. But I think lots of times people who watch pickup artists, they're just learning like steps to take, and then they're not able to actually put it into practice.
Sure.
I would disagree. I feel like they internalize the scripts. No, don't you think that's bad?
No, I think a lot of guys who are like watching this stuff, they don't actually take action. They're just mentally masturbating. I think that's what Tom is saying. They're just like watching the shit, but then when they're out in a social situation, they're like, oh, right, because again, they haven't really like practiced, the skill set. So yeah, I mean that's a big issue. Just a lot of mental masturbation. I think less than 50% of people in this community are actually taking action for sure. I would say maybe even less than 40%, honestly.
Well, somebody in my chat was telling me to mention. So when Destiny was talking about somebody who's fat, like having just as easy of a time getting laid, what he's saying is that like people who actually make an effort are going to be able to find people that are willing to have sex with them. And anybody who's making an effort will find more people than anybody who's not making an effort. And so even though somebody who's good looking will have a bigger pool, they're probably looking to get laid just as often as somebody who's not, who has a smaller pool. Just both of them are able to direct their efforts towards the pool that they are going to be able to get laid in. And they're both going to have like the same amount of
because if they're both, if there's a good looking guy and an ugly guy putting in the same amount of effort, the good-looking guy will absolutely demolish him because his ROI will be a lot higher. Now, you could try to make an argument that if a good-looking guy's putting in no effort and an ugly guy's putting in massive effort, that maybe the ugly guy will do better. And that's like, I think, a more nuanced argument that we can have. But both guys are putting in the same amount of effort. One is ugly, one is good-looking. The results are going to be fundamentally different. They're not even going to be close. The good-looking guy is going to have a way higher success rate. The ugly guy's going to have to do way more reps in order to get that same level of success rate. It's kind of what Destiny was saying. The more the man wants to have sex, the more sex he will get.
Do you think that's applicable on dating apps?
Dating apps are mostly looks.
Yeah. Why?
They're mostly looks. Your profile matters as well.
But if you're swiping,
look at the profile, but looks is like the first thing that you see, the first thing that you're being judged off of. It matters a lot more.
That if you're trying, right? Why aren't you getting laid?
Well, I think dating apps in general are going to be a totally different. It's going to be a totally different circumstance, totally different animal.
But you're seeking sex.
Sure. I'm not talking about I'm talking about in interpersonal interactions. I don't think people who are fat are going to try dating apps because they already know that's not going to work, right?
Well, no, that's not true.
Yeah, that's not true. There's a lot of
everybody's on the apps. Yeah. I've seen it, but
I don't think
I think the stat was kind of misleading because when you look at online dating, which is the number one way people meet each other, last time I checked, it could have changed. This was 2020. It was online. It was like 22% is what he pulled up. Last thing I checked was about 17%. Number one way is people meet through work, and then next 5 are friends. What is it? On Instagram though, that was one of the caveats, if I remember correctly. And Instagram is like the biggest non-dating app.
Yeah, that is true. But I will say this, there's a few things I want to comment on what you said. So the first point was that you acknowledged earlier that, of course, all things being equal, that height matters and weight matters. So then if we're following that logic, how can it be that if a good-looking guy and ugly guy put in the same amount of effort, they'll have equal results? According to your own earlier statements, that cannot be the case.
Yeah, so if I'm going and looking for girls, I already have a threshold for who I'm actually willing to approach. And I think that threshold, there's a group of women somewhere where I know, these are my chicks. These are the chicks that I'm going after. These are the chicks that are going to say yes to me. I think everybody has their group, their threshold. They know that this is the group that's willing to date them, and they already know who to approach. And I think that's what the study is saying, is that just putting in the effort to approach your group is going to get you you're going to have the same amount of success. So somebody who's really fat, ugly, doesn't have a whole lot of game is going to be approaching other girls that are not super good looking, that also don't have a whole lot of game.
Girls don't need game. Girls don't need game, but even the fat girl is getting hit up by chats. We've done a lot of Tinder experiments to prove that. For example, we've done 2 really interesting ones. We took photos of a girl who's grossly obese, over 300 pounds. She was getting hit up by some of the biggest chats, guys who are really good looking, really jacked, blah, blah, blah. Then we did another interesting one. We took a photo of my mom, who's 54. We used a face app to make her 20 years older. So we took her grandma, put her on a dating app, right?
Mom.
And she was getting hit up by really good looking dudes who want to meet up with her. So based on how the dating marketplace is right now, even the fattest chick ever is getting plenty of options of guys who are very good looking. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I don't see any evidence that good looking guys are overrepresented on dating apps. In fact, I might argue it's the opposite. But I don't think there's more good looking guys on dating apps than there are in real life. There's just as many ugly guys. There's just as many short guys. There's just as many average guys there are in real life. Again, I think if anything, it's almost the opposite, because the really good-looking guys, they probably don't even need to rely on dating apps because they have girls sliding in their DMs. They might be getting approached by girls. So I think that if anything, it's going to be the opposite. But at the very best, it's going to be equal representation. It's not going to be that there's more good-looking guys on dating apps than there are in day-to-day life. That's not the case.
Sure. So when I say game for women, I'm talking about them being able to make themselves look attractive. That's generally, like I said, that's the threshold that most men are looking for, is just you got to be attractive. And then the other things might start to matter after that. But for women, I don't think looks are the threshold. I don't think that they are like all that important. They are on dating apps, but again, this is why I think dating apps are just like it's a totally different world, totally different conversation.
I don't think so. I think there are some differences, but I don't think they're totally different. Sure, personality and confidence plays more of a role off a dating app, right? But I don't think it's a totally different world. Like girls are super superficial on dating apps and they're like super like wholesome and non-superficial in real life. That's not the case. Girls are quite superficial in real life, right? As well. It's just like there's other factors that play a role because she can actually interact with you. But yeah, if you're an unattractive guy, like you're obese or you're 5'3", even if like at a bar or like through your friend circle, like a lot of girls are either going to put you in the friend zone or shut you down automatically. They're not even going to give you the time of day to evaluate, whether you're the guy that she wants to date or not. No, I don't think like the more effort you put in, like the guy who's good looking and the guy who's ugly put in the same effort, they'll have similar results. I think that's fundamentally 1000% not true. They will have very different results. The bad looking guy will have to put in substantially more effort to counterbalance his disadvantage in the looks department.
So, crap. Hold on 1 second. I got an issue over here. I'll be right back.
It's okay. Do you mind if I put on a Blackpiller? I think this will make the debate a lot more spicy.
Sure.
All right, cool. Let me bring him on.
Hey, what's going on, Alex? That was a pretty base take, by the way, what you just said.
Did you just masturbate as I was talking to be confirming?
Just a tad. But yeah, I recall Torshaa saying looks are not the only thing that matter on dating apps. I thought that was kind of baffling. Could you elaborate on that?
Wait, what?
Because it's like 99%.
I didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
I think that looks are really important.
But
by the way, that's more of my position. I don't think looks are the only things that matter on dating apps. I think that your texting, can play definitely a substantial role, but they're definitely the main things that matter on dating app.
Right. I mean, maybe there's like 2 or 3% in your bio, I guess, but almost everything else is looks.
No, but
that's like obvious.
Bio is not that important. But like when you match with a girl, right? You still have to make the date happen. And if you have, I did a reaction video to that like Chad dude when he was messaging girls or whatever, and his text game was like dog shit. Like that guy will fuck up most of the opportunities he gets with his like dog shit text game, right? So I don't think it's just as easy as just being good looking. You need good photos, which we can tie back to looks, but you also need to know how to text a girl. Now, the one thing I will acknowledge is the better looking you are, the less text game you need, right? It will be easier for a really good looking guy.
Here's your text game. Hey, do you want to come over? Sure. Okay, cool. That's called text game on Tinder. Is that really game? That's called meeting up with a girl.
That doesn't work for 99% of men, and that's also not going to work with
There's a reason for that because their looks aren't quite up there enough.
You would have to I think plant a seed for that to happen. To like go back to your house if you have something to do there. Like I don't really think that. No.
Not really.
Yeah, for sure. You match with some like Giga Chad. Are you just like he's like, hey, want to come over? Like,
no, that's terrifying. I would think he's fake, first of all, and we're scared more than we are attracted.
Dude, you have to look at like what. This is why I kind of like Alex, because you look at the results, not what they say. And at least from my experience, like you just say, hey, let's watch something or let's have a drink or whatever. It doesn't even need to be anything. They know what's up. You know what's up. It's just how it works. Online.
That's wild. That's wild to me. I can't imagine.
I don't think it's that wild, but the problem is that's a faulty data set because we're looking at a massive selection bias. So we're looking at all the girls who said yes, but we're not counting all the girls who said no. So don't you think it's entirely possible that if you adopted more of like my text game approach and you were a little bit more like witty and like progressive with it, that you would have way more dates?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I want to filter out girls who are not like giga down off the bat, because the most important thing to me is like she must truly desire me, and if she does, then like she'll do basically anything, All right,
looks okay.
She doesn't know you yet.
It's not about that. That's what you're not understanding. She just like looks at your face, your height.
Torshaa, you don't understand how women's brains work. Okay. You don't understand how women think.
And that's the beauty about. That's the beauty about dating apps.
Explain it to you.
Here's the beauty about dating apps: it's what happens behind closed doors. There's no room for virtue signaling. None of this.
But you're not seeing that either. You're just seeing the girls who said yes. You're not seeing all the girls who said no. I guess my question will be this: Let's do a hypothetical. Let's take like 2 Giga Chads. Both are equal level of looks, right? One of them just every time he matches with a girl, he says, "Hey, want to come over?" Right? That's his whole texting. One of them like follows a similar strategy as me, where he banters, he flirts, he's very smooth and progressive.
Well, hold on.
What do you think the difference in results would be?
So I'm not saying, hey, come over like right away. Like first you're like, hey, you're cute, whatever, we should meet up, and then like 3 messages later, maybe then you say, hey,
So
we should watch this.
you're changing.
A little bit, but like it's
That's
just
very
like
different.
small talk. No, it's like 2 or 3 messages of small talk, you know, and then you're like, hey, we should watch something of mine. Easy.
But why not? If you're such a chat, why not cut out the small talk? Because girls don't.
I've done experiments like that. There are experiments online, like
You
showing
already stepped back on your position.
No, I still say you should say the, hey, come over,
you
but
were
it doesn't have to be in the.
You're being a dick. You're like, no, look at the results. It's like now you're changing it to a couple messages. Nah.
Yes, it's called small talk.
Come
This is what
on.
people do.
That's
Like-
what
Well,
I'm
this is why
saying,
I was
though.
saying that dating
Like,
apps are
it's-
completely different, though, is because dating apps are the data shows that women care a lot more about looks in short-term dating, or if they're just looking for hookups, and then it's not even like a top 10 priority if they're not looking for a hookup. If they're looking for something more long-term.
Oh, that I
where
don't
it's
know.
gonna
I don't
we're
really
always looking for good-looking guys.
Yeah.
So guys,
Always.
looks
There's nothing in our
change
brain
to
that
a
shuts
woman.
off. There's
No,
nothing in our brain that shuts off. Nothing.
Your brain, a guy looks better to you the more confidence he has, the more charisma he has, the funnier he is, the more socially aware he is. He looks better and better.
But that guy's
the
not
more
even
he-
getting his foot in the door.
Are you talking about like vibe? That's the one thing apps can't really do unless you banter, and even then,
exactly.
it's like hard. Yeah,
Yes,
I agree.
And so, yes, guys will look better to women over personality, like the way that they look, how attractive they are, physically changes. So I'm not this like 10 out of 10 giga Chad, but the girls that I date are going to be 8s to 10s, and I'm 5'10", like 180 pounds. I'm not this like massive dude, but I'm very socially aware. I'm really good at talking. I'm confident. I'm able to have conversations better than most people. And girls literally tell me, well, like after we've been dating for like a year, like you weren't all that attractive to me at first. Like you were just another freaking guy. And then all of a sudden, the more you talk, the more you were around, the more attractive you became. This is just the way it is. And this is the data seems to back this up as well.
All right, Tom, but here's the key
guys
distinction.
more and more attractive.
I do agree with you. I've had situations where girls initially dismissed me and said I wasn't attractive enough and later wound up fucking me, right? So it does happen. Sure, right. But I think the issue is that if you're really unattractive, like we're not talking like you're borderline, where you sort of meet her looks threshold, where you're really unattractive, you're 5'3" or you're obese, you're not even going to be given the chance to show off your confidence or personality. You're not even going to be able to get your foot in the door.
True, but
if in a warm environment she'll friend zone you, in a cold environment she'll just automatically reject you. That's the issue.
I don't think women friend zone as fast as you make it sound like. I think that they friend zone over like long periods of time. I don't think it's that fast.
I think it happened within a span of days or weeks, typically.
Okay. But yeah, I think I would rather look like me and have a lot of personality and a lot of game than look like Hassan and be dumb and not really like have a whole lot of charisma.
This guy is 6'4", handsome, and has insane amount of wealth. He mugs you into oblivion. How are you going to talk?
We're talking. Hold on. We're talking about looks. We're talking about looks alone.
Right.
I would rather look like me and have a lot of game than look like Hassan and have no game, no charisma, and not be funny. Yes.
So I might like even actually like potentially agree with you, right? Like if I had to pick between being like, well, I would not. Okay, if the choice is like 5'3" and massive personality and 6'3" and like no personality, I don't know which one I would pick. Probably the 6'3". But if it's like, because then at that point you're not meeting most girls look special. But if it's like 5'7", like average looking guy, but you have really great personality, humor, and charisma versus a good looking guy who's just like a fucking dumb as a box of bricks and can't hold a conversation, I probably would be the normal guy. But I do think it gets different when you go into the outliers and you're a guy who's just so unattractive that most girls are automatically dismissing you, right? This is what I disagree with the Blackpill on. They believe that everyone but Chad is getting instantly dismissed, right? I don't think that's the case, right? I think it's going to be I think you have to be below average to get instantly dismissed by most girls. Some girls will dismiss you, right? But most girls, if you're average looking, they'll kind of give you a little bit of a chance. You know, they'll feel you out a little bit.
Yeah, there's a threshold for sure.
Confident, but that's the point I'm making is that really fat guys or really short guys typically don't meet the threshold.
I think Blackpill also like rates themselves a lot lower than what they are. in
That's
my
true.
opinion. Like in the really like on the pages where they'll post pictures and people will comment, like they're brutal to each other. It's like body dysmorphic disorder, but everybody has it and everybody's rude about it. So I just think they're kind of diluted. And I'd seen really good looking dudes that they rated a 2 on. So
Yeah,
it's
I've
like,
seen
how can, it's like, what? I don't know. It's wild. Just wanted to add that.
No, I
think in
definitely
general-
agree with that.
In general, like it's all about like the looks threshold, and in today's age, like being average just isn't quite good enough. You know, you're kind of invisible in the eyes of a lot of women. So like being like a 6, 7, 8 is like minimum to be on like a dating app or something like that. You know,
6s are
Yeah,
very
I
good looking. 6s are good. Like they're not bad. Like
Oh, 6? Yeah, 6 is like basically average, slightly above average.
No,
yeah,
it's
but it
nothing
like
special.
sounds low. But like they like just to give somebody like context, what can you name a celebrity that you would say is like a 6? I would say like Ben Stiller.
Yeah, I think that's probably
I think he
fair.
was. Yeah. And he was hot.
in his youth, sure,
Yeah.
because now obviously not. But yeah,
He aged pretty well, but yeah, he's probably like what?
I was about to say he got better looking as he aged. I would put somebody like Adam
Yeah.
Sandler probably
Yeah.
around the 6.
Yeah, he is
Sure.
a 6. I feel like he hasn't changed either.
but the point is like the men who are killing it are people like Leo, Ian Somerhalder,
Leo-
Brad Pitt, people like that, who are just
Okay,
like
first of
clearly-
all, I guarantee you.
That's
I
status.
guarantee you Ben
Status.
Stiller.
Yeah, right.
I guarantee you
Yeah,
Ben
I have
Stiller.
friends that slept with him. It's
I
status.
guarantee you Ben Stiller has way more pussy than he can handle. Okay, any famous guy, any
Oh, yeah.
A-list celebrity is not going to be struggling to get girls, regardless of their look. Even
I
Danny
remember-
DeVito.
You
is
told me
probably-
Danny DeVito. That was ridiculous. Danny DeVito is not getting laid. Like he's just
Well,
not.
he's
Definitely
married.
not high class.
He's in a
I would
traditional
fuck
marriage.
Danny
But he could
DeVito. Are you
totally get laid.
kidding?
Jesus Christ. I mean, you would sleep with a 5'2"
bang
man.
a lot
like-
of chicks. There's a lot of girls that would fuck him because he's famous, because they find him funny. Yes,
Yeah.
Danny DeVito would do better than anyone on this panel.
That's a complete lie.
Or
Let's
the
put him in a
possible
bar.
expression
Dude,
of
do it. Like,
Why-
literally
No,
run
so
that
why-
experiment.
listen, for
Hold
guys
on, let's
like
break that down. I want to know
Yeah.
why you think that's a lie.
Because he's so ugly that his status can't carry him.
You're not
That's
fucking
why.
him. You're not fucking him.
No,
Why
but
do
when
you
girls
care
see him,
though?
they're visibly repulsed. Like
We
you can
don't get
tell it's that-
repulsed. We don't get repulsed like men do.
No, I see what happens behind closed doors. I see women talk about short, fat, ugly men all the time. They'll
Look, how
clown
many
them.
A-list celebrities do you know that which are ugly? Like, how many of Danny DeVito's do you know? Because the only way you can truly evaluate is if you know an A-list celebrity who's similar looks level as Danny DeVito, which I'm assuming you do not.
You know, G-Eazy?
Jeez, he's 6'5" and he's good
So
looking.
he's good looking, right? You would agree?
He's like a 7,
A 7?
like a 7.5.
Oh my God, he's a 10.
Like,
I
he
hate
is
him.
quite tall.
I
I
hate
think-
him, but he's a very good looking dude. He's very tall, very good stature. He has status. Everybody knows who he is. He has really good hair, beard, the whole thing. I've seen
Yeah.
him sleep with the nastiest women you can think of. I used to work in nightclubs, so like the after parties and stuff, I like walked in and it was like the girls that you thought would go to jail in high school, but older. I mean, hideous. So it's
Yeah.
like this whole idea where people like regular people that never worked with celebrities it's like very skewed to what actually happens. I just
Well,
thought I would like
he might have
red
just
pill you
had
on that.
beer goggles on. I'm sure he's had countless like 9s and 10s as well.
He
Like,
was
you
doing
just-
coke, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
You
even,
know?
whether that's true or not is kind of relevant to the point, because what men will do is somewhat different.
He
than
could
what
have
women
had anyone, Alex. Beautiful bottle girls. Think about
do.
it.
Guys will fuck anything that walks.
You could. Well, no, a lot
Most
of guys.
guys, most guys would
He
just
had
like
you could-
bang
multiple
her.
you could
women
be-
in the bed, and they were
You
like,
could be right
hitting.
about that, Torshaa, but that still would have nothing to do with whether Danny DeVito would slay. Tyrion Lannister.
I just want to break his mind about it because I
Oh,
don't
well,
like
Who are we
to
talking
hear
you're not
it.
going
about?
to.
I
I've
missed it.
spent years trying to break his mind.
Well, I mean,
But
I'm gonna do it. Okay, go ahead.
Sure.
Tyrion Lannister, is he slaying? Well, Peter Dinklage is married with kids, but assuming he was single, yes, I do think Peter Dinklage, after Game of Thrones, now he's one of the most famous people on the planet, would beat anyone on this panel. Yeah,
Oh
that
my
level of
Lord.
fame and status carries you a long way. See, this is where, like, I think it's like super cringy to think that, like, for example, you Looks could like destroy Peter Dinklage when it comes to like pussy, right? Like,
Well, the
you won't.
actual
None of
Tyrion
us will.
Lannister in the show was hitting it. He was getting with hot chicks all the time. Like he was going to. He wasn't just like at
Bro, it's a movie.
brothels. Well, no, but that
It's a
is like
movie.
kind of how it is.
What?
Like status is
People
very
act.
important to
Hello?
women.
I
Again,
know.
like the things that surround you make you look very different to women. Whether it's your personality, whether it's having a lot of friends, whether it's other hot girls dating you or other hot girls liking you, like the things that surround you completely change your perception to women.
Hmm.
Yeah,
that's
having
like-
girlfriends it's a plus.
I think pre-selection has its place. What often you see is like good-looking men have a lot of pre-selection because they're good-looking. Therefore,
Yeah.
other people like them as well. And
Sure, they
people
have
market
a
as, like,
higher. Well,
Like
that's
a
kind of
good
the point I was
network.
speaking earlier. They have a higher chance of achieving that. But if we take someone who did achieve that, like Peter Dinklage or Danny DeVito, like those guys, trust me, those guys, if they are not struggling to get pussy, like
It's a trust me, bro. Trust me, bro.
there's a well, your argument is trust me, bro, too, right? Like we're both speaking.
Well, I'm
anecdotally.
speaking from personal experience, and
100%.
also from like the behind closed doors.
Well,
You
you're not
see
speaking-
the tall, good-looking men clean up like everywhere.
Show
Well,
your
hang on.
face.
You're not. Looks, you're not speaking from personal experience. Personal experience will be talking about you or your friends.
Yeah.
You're talking about celebrities that you've never met. You don't have
Yeah.
any A-list celebrity
No, but I
friends.
see like girls I know who
It's
like
not
simp
personal,
over them.
wait, but it's not personal experience. This is speculation, and
Well-
speculation on my part too, because I don't know any A-list celebrities. So we're both speculating right now.
You know how girls like simp over actors and would be like, "Oh, I'd do anything to see this man. I would do this, this, and that. Like he could do anything to me." Like that kind of rhetoric with like certain high-class models, actors, whatever.
Do you
So then
not
why
agree
are
that
like
women?
Well,
rich
then, yeah.
bald guys? Why are rich short bald guys pulling tens all the time? Why does
Where?
that?
Where are
That's
these
good.
rich fat
All
bald guys
over the
pulling?
place. Go
Where?
look at any. Go look at
I've
any
dated
Fortune
them.
500 CEO.
I'm kidding.
Look at
Dude, they're
any Fortune
billionaires.
500 CEO.
Yes,
No.
when you're a billionaire.
That's
Yes,
different
no,
because
you're
of the
rich.
status.
It's just
Billionaire.
another type of status. It is just another type of status that exists.
Oh my lord. There's this funny clip of Jeff Bezos and his wife. And his wife like met Leonardo DiCaprio, and she like
DiCaprio, yeah, I know.
you saw that? It was so funny. Fucking brutal mog. She's like, I wish I could have been with you, Leo.
But
I
you
just
do
said it was
realize
like
that
a small
Leonardo.
moment.
That's not a fair comparison because Leonardo DiCaprio also has more status and more fame than Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, he
or-
has like a lot
He's-
of
he's
really
like the
good
most-
movies.
He's like the
Tom,
best.
Tom.
He's the most popular actor in the world. Like
For
He's
sure.
basically saying, just be a millionaire, billionaire, and then then girls will see you for your money. And
bro, just be.
That's
a
the
giga
biggest indicator that they'll get laid. What are you talking about? That's
Get
why we
laid?
Look,
push
but don't you
it.
see how that's
For your
exactly
money.
kind of what you're saying, which is just be a chat,
Yeah.
bro?
No,
Yeah, but it's
well,
genes,
no,
bro.
because it's no. There's
just have good
reasons.
genes, bro.
Hold on, shut the fuck up. There's
I mean,
reasons that money is beneficial, not just to pull women. That benefits your own self.
sure, but like the girls who are clearly with men who they're not attracted to,
You
Or
would have no
typically just-
idea.
dude, I know girls
All
who've had
women-
sugar daddies
All
and shit. and,
women
like,
are like, not all women, but a lot of women on regular dating apps are probably on seeking arrangements. Just
Here,
saying.
let me ask you a question. Why do you think a rich man can get hot chicks, like he can pull models, but a rich woman cannot?
well,
Because
again,
women can get him free everywhere.
I mean,
Well,
it
no,
just
I'm
was
asking,
life
I'm
under
asking
cruise
him
difficulty.
because he's
Oh.
making it sound like men and women are rated the same when they're not. Men are looking for looks. Women are not really
but that's
looking
where you're
for looks,
wrong.
but he's making it sound like they are. So
They
why is there a
certainly are.
difference between one and the other?
There's
Did-
experiments that have been conducted that show like women on paper
Hold on,
say
hold
they
on,
like
hold on.
other things, and then when you look at the results, it's always looks at the top. I wish I could
Results
find
of
this
dating
one.
apps, though.
Right,
And
dating
dating
apps.
apps are
Dating
again
apps-
not an actual representative of the general.
This is what I don't
population.
like. You're like, this is not real life. These are real
Okay,
women
wait,
on
wait,
real
wait.
dating apps.
No,
and more
hold on,
women
wait,
are
wait, wait.
getting
That's
on
not
them.
what I'm saying.
What's
Hold on,
his
wait, wait.
name?
Okay, I'm not saying that it's not real
Maybe
life.
just call him
I'm
Looks.
saying that it's short-term dating. Short-term dating is very different than long-term dating. Short-term dating status rarely ever matters. Long-term dating
That's not
status
true
almost always
We
Well,
don't
that's not
believe
true.
that. We already all
Status makes a
disagreed
huge
on
difference for
that.
short-term dating too. Leonardo
It makes
DiCaprio
a difference,
is
but not
slaying
nearly
chicks
as big of a
for short-term
difference as looks or other things that he's talking about. Status
Hold
is not as important as it is in long-term dating.
I would almost argue the opposite. I would think that status would be more important for short-term dating. For
Status
long-term
is
dating,
always matters.
Yeah, for
Again,
long-term
it
dating,
always matters.
that's when
Nobody's
values and
arguing against whether or not it always matters. It always matters, but it is less important in short-term dating.
I
Looks
cannot
are
agree
Women
more
with that.
don't
important
partake in short-term dating.
Yes.
There's so
What do you
many
mean? Yes,
chicks-
they do.
No,
So many
I
chicks
don't
will
believe
fuck
that.
like a celebrity or a basketball player short term, but will not actually date him, right? Because they don't want their lifestyle. So I think if anything, status is more important for short term than long term, honestly.
I don't believe in
But
the
that
mate
does
switch.
the
just
data
saying.
just doesn't show that at all.
Yeah,
The data
it's
shows
been
that
debunked.
looks.
It's been debunked.
No, it does not.
Yeah,
What's
it
the
is.
data
Almost,
that we're
there
talking
is a
about?
consensus on this. There is not debunked.
Where?
Like
Wait, are you
almost
talking about-
everything that
I
I've
said
looked up
mate
says the
switching.
same. Hold on,
Mate
wait, what is he-
switching
Where has this been debunked?
Wait, what are you saying? Maid
by his
switching?
own self. David Buss.
Hold on. What are you saying? Maid switching?
Hey, she's talking about something different. We
Dual
gotta like
mating.
try to focus on one. Yeah, she's talking about the dual
Short-term
mating.
short-term mating and long-term. But I really wanted to ask whatever his name was, like, did you, when you were picking up women in your personal experience, this is anecdotal, were women turning you down like right away in the snap of a finger? Because that's very common and we're not even processing what you look like. You know?
No, the whole point is I'm a tall white male with colored eyes.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm speaking from a point
I was
of
just wondering.
it doesn't matter like what you say really. A girl will indicate to you if she's interested right off the bat.
I
And
hear
that's-
you. I just
yeah.
wanted to know your experience, Mom.
Right.
All right, look, I want to go back to something you were saying. So you were talking about
You guys go ahead.
you were kind of making a joke like, oh, just be rich, bro, just be famous, bro, which is fair enough, is like not accessible to most men. But you know what's even less accessible? Changing your genetics, right? Your genetics are basically what you are. So like, doesn't it make more sense talking about things that are within your control, even if there's a small chance, right? Like becoming rich or being status, than something that's completely outside your control, like genetics.
Right, but it'd be such a shame to see men be slaves to women and like be simps and pay for everything
They're
and do all these
slaves to
things.
you.
But no one's saying you should do that, man. Like that's a straw man argument of the opposition. No one in my side of the community is saying that you should be slaves to women to get laid. That's never been an argument that's been made.
Well,
by the
no,
community.
I understand what he's saying. So
Right.
but you're a little radical. That's okay. A little
But
bit.
that's not what anyone in the pickup community is saying, though.
I know.
Well-
I know that. I'm just saying. Instead of, how long have you been in this phase? Has this been like your whole dating that you've been kind of salty?
I'm not salty at all.
I know. I hate saying that. I don't mean to like put a feeling to it, but like you're very like.
No, it's just a harsh reality that people don't want to accept.
No.
So they find
He's
various
jaded.
hopes to like,
Yeah.
you know, make themselves feel a little better. They're like, oh, if only I was more witty. Meanwhile, they're 5'3", you know, like they don't know the true issue.
Looks4L is salty. I do agree
Yeah.
that he's cheated, but I don't think he's salty. I think he's like.
I
why
just
did you-
picked
one of
a
the-
word. I
he's
was
one of
trying
the
to be.
few-
I
one
was
of the
trying
few
to be
black pillars
soft.
who's not
Shut
actually
up,
salty.
everybody. I was trying to be soft. I wasn't really trying. I was just. I don't know how to ask because I don't want it to come off rude or condescending. That's why I was like salty.
Just go with your next point.
Yeah,
I was just curious. I just wanted to know more about
No, I'm
you.
sharing my experience and like how women respond to men they truly desire. And there's none of this like wishy-washy. You have to like spit some weird game. It's very clear if she's interested.
Would anything change your mind?
I would need to see a short, ugly guy out with kind of or whatever get hotter girls than a tall, good-looking man. I would need to see that like in a large sample.
Like how many
yeah.
people roughly?
Like
If
it
you
would
had
have
to
to be
pick.
1-to-1. It'd have to be like short, ugly guy versus tall, handsome man. And let's say we give the short, ugly guy a little bit more game than the other guy. Then
if-
over a large
well,
sample, maybe.
But you know the stat about women find 80% of men unattractive. I know this is on dating apps, but just because you're familiar with this one, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Women
find probably even
arguably
more.
find most men ugly.
Because most
So-
men are ugly. Yeah.
Right, but like there's people are still fucking, right?
Well,
they're
it's
still
going
getting
down and
laid.
down. There's more and more
Right.
incels.
Sure. That's true. I don't disagree
Women
with
don't
you
need
on
to
that.
rely on men for finances as much anymore, which is the only thing keeping
So
them
you
alive
admit.
back in the day.
No, I'm kidding. Well, right, but you still need, if you want to have a dual income, or I'm sorry, if you want to have kids or something, you both have to work. I mean, I don't see, unless you make more than 200K.
Depends where you live. That's like a
We
whole
need
nother topic.
you. Stop listening to this feminist propaganda. It's like so stupid. Of
I don't
course
think
we
both parties
you.
need to work. I mean, that's like a whole nother conversation.
Sure, but women do need you.
Look, so I just want you to acknowledge that everything you said in this debate is just as anecdotal as what me or Tom have said, because it's all based on your person. It's actually even more speculation, honestly, because you're speaking.
Mine is not anecdotal. Mine is go search women long-term versus short-term, and you will get nothing but everything that I'm saying here. Like I said,
okay, sure. Yours is the most anecdotal. I do think that data is highly flawed.
No, there's already studies. The mate shift switch. I keep fucking it up. Mate switch hypothesis or whatever. Which one were dual mating was? They changed it though. David changed it. Hold on, I can Google it. I just like don't want to, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, there's multiple theories, and theories are supported by facts, so they're all true. I'm just saying there's not one that's true. You understand what I'm saying? And what I see on a large scale is different. I'm not debating it. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't.
I understand, but I'm saying that's why we separated into short-term versus long-term, so that we have both. Like we have two different types of data that we're pulling from.
These are two separate arguments, is what I'm trying to say.
I understand that the dual dating hypothesis or dual mating strategy or whatever. From everything I've seen, I haven't seen anything that actually supports it. But
all I'm saying is that, like, women can't shut off short and long term, in my opinion.
That's what I agree with.
Hold on, just let me finish. So what I'm saying is, like, looks, money, it all matters. I'm not saying one matters over the other. You see, that's all I was trying to clarify.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I don't think that either. I think money doesn't matter nearly as much as looks or status,
not even close,
or confidence.
You can fake money, and I think that's where women get fooled.
Yeah,
money and status is
sure, but
who cares?
Money and status are very different. Status will actually build genuine desire. Money will not.
Yeah, but again,
I think from matters the most.
Like, generally, it seems like whether or not a woman finds you attractive changes over time, but the ceiling that you have to get through is generally going to be some sort of status that she finds attractive. Then she'll give you a chance to figure out whether or not you're attractive, and you can make yourself look more attractive or less attractive based on your personality.
Well, that's not true. Looks4L has no
game
status.
Is 100%.
Like Looks4L has no status.
Game is a type of status.
Well,
Jesus.
Game is a type of status.
No, it's not.
Status, no.
Yeah. So if you have
status
game,
is when you walk in the room and people know who you are, type of a thing.
Yeah.
Right. So exactly. So having game is like a high social awareness, high social skills.
Yeah, I'm sure they go together, but they're not.
You're also going to be more
defining status very loosely. Well, I think of status the same thing as like fame or recognition or like
a blue
general
check mark.
respect. Like people know who you are. Yeah, local status could be like you're the most popular guy at work. Or
right.
You're
We
the
don't
most
disagree.
Sure. So that's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, charisma goes with those traits. I agree with you, Tom.
I think the red pill dumbs down what status is to women, whereas status means a lot more than just like. Well, so that's what I'm saying is that it means a lot more things. So, or the pop red pill. Okay, maybe not Rollo Tomasi's red pill, but the pop.
No, there's
red
like
pill,
multiple different.
They make status sound like it's just like money, nice cars, stuff like that, where it's actually like popularity, having a lot of friends, having other girls that like you, having having social skills, like all of these things.
No, the only one that's wrong is social skills. Social skills is not status. It's something different. There's a lot of guys who have, how I know they're different, because there's some guys, because they can be totally mutually exclusive in some cases. There's some guys who have high status, very low social skills, right? If social skills were status, then that would not be possible.
Sure. That's what I'm saying, though, is that social skills is a type of status, but status is not social skills. Those are two different things.
I think what you're trying to say is that in order to have high status, you probably had to gain some social skills on the way. And I agree with you there. But I don't think they're like, I don't think you can have both or one of them without the other. Like, I think you just build it. No?
Well, I think you can definitely, there's guys who have high status, who have poor social skills, and there's guys who have great social skills who have no status, right? Like there's plenty of guys who have really good social skills who have no status, right?
Yeah, and they're tricking women into bed.
No, you don't need to trick women if you're like really confident.
Oh, come on, Alex. Women are getting tricked.
So if I'm talking about social skills, I'm talking about like having charisma, being funny, having confidence. Like these are like things that women already find attractive, and it's going to bring, like, it is a type of status to women. Like it makes you look bigger, it makes you look more attractive.
Okay, I mean, You're defining status very, very loosely, I guess. We're just defining it differently. Torshaa, wait, I want to go back to this. Actually, first I want to ask a question.
I
ask a
know what
question
you're
to
gonna
Looks,
say. You're
and
so
then I want to go
good.
to Torshaa.
Hold
Looks,
on, when
okay.
I say tricking, I just mean simping. You know, paying without getting anything in return type of a thing. Lucario's definition. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I want to go to Looks's. I have a question for Looks. So let's do a hypothetical. Let's take like what would you rate Kevin Hart?
He's probably like he's okay. He's just a manlet, you know.
So
He's
like
just
what?
super short,
Like
super
3,
short,
4,
normal
like-
looking guy. Overall SMV is probably like a 4 or 3.
Okay, 3 or 4.
He's
What
not
would you
bad.
What would you rate?
I didn't rate him. Everybody's rating him but me. What the fuck? I'm the one bitch here.
Well, because that's not really the point of the exercise. What would you rate?
Okay.
I don't know. What would you rate Greg? Take your beef aside with him. What would you rate him?
Yeah, beef aside, he's like around a 6.
So do you think Greg and Kevin Hart would have similar results with girls, or do you think Greg will do better than Kevin Hart?
I don't think the SMV jump is too severe to the point where no matter. Plus, Kevin Hart has a lot of status, so I think it will help him. But he's like 1 in a million plus type status, you know. And Greg is not 1 in a million looks, right? So,
okay, let's do Danny DeVito.
What about a bartender? They have status in the local town.
I mean, it depends what you look like.
You can have local status. Okay, what about Danny DeVito versus Greg? Do you think Greg would destroy Danny DeVito?
Yes, I think so.
Really? Okay, I'm flabbergasted by that. I think Danny.
You know, I don't like Greg, but like I think
Danny DeVito would destroy every guy in this panel. That level of status.
False. It's false. He's so ugly. He's like dirt ugly. He's not even like a 5, you know.
But that level of status and fame, man.
I don't know.
Yeah, imagine all the parties. Want to go to an after? Like they're probably doing afters and shit.
Women are like visibly repulsed. Like you cannot
women
fake that
like
emotion.
Experiences over what you look
so
like.
They'll use
we
you
could
for your
fall in love with a roach. What are you talking about?
It's not true, and it's not reflected in dating app statistics. It's not reflected.
Danny DeVito will not be meeting girls on dating apps, right? He's gonna be. You know how he's primarily gonna be meeting girls. Sure, he could, but you know how he's primarily gonna be meeting girls.
Instagram.
It's gonna be girls who watch those movies, who find him really funny and charming, and they're gonna slide into his DMs.
Slide in, yeah.
And maybe when they first saw him, they thought he was like unattractive. But then because they were watching his movies, they got warmed up to him, and they're like, you know what? Like this guy cracks me the fuck up. I think it'd be really funny to like meet him, or it'd be really fun to bang him, right? So there's going to be a lot of it's not going to be most girls, but there's going to be enough girls that Danny DeVito would destroy any guy on this panel.
No, I just fundamentally disagree with that hardcore. By the way, one thing I've been trying to do, because we're trying to put looks versus game to the test, right? This is status aside, is how we're doing these competitions, right? How like Ron did it against the short manlet, and like I did it against the Jester Jake, right? Just to prove like how much looks and height matter in the flesh, right? Like doing actual social experiments. And I think the final nail in the coffin would be some like really good game guy, right? Who's average looking versus a tall, good looking guy, you know? Like that's the way to truly see it on video. So there's no like excuses or anything.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the fact that it's a very small sample size, sure,
right.
Data, but I don't think the experiments like have proved anything so far, because what's his name? BMAC had some of the cringiest game I've ever seen. So if BMAC's game was better than Ron's, then yes, I think that would be proof. And I think also,
you guys are talking about stuff we don't know.
Like basically.
You displayed better social skills than Jake in that contest. So that's
So it just happened that the two taller, better looking men were seen as having better social skills. Like, was that just a coincidence, or was that a halo effect?
Do you think that Jake has better social skills than you?
Bro, it always comes back to this, but it's not his social skills holding him back.
No, I'm just asking hypothetical. Do you think he has better
who is this?
Sorry. So yeah, obviously he sounded like a robot.
So you think you have better social skills than him?
Yes, but that wasn't the reason why. Because
you
didn't even have the time to
that's the reason, but then you're going to completely dismiss the possibility.
Because these girls, some of them didn't even like look his direction. If you notice,
but that's what I was saying before.
There's a lot of girls
we don't even look at. We don't even look at men.
Not in the same manner. It's not like a "ew, get away from me" type of thing.
Do you think when a woman says no, when you ask her for her number, that she thinks that you're the most hideous thing to walk the planet?
It depends what you look like, right? What do you mean?
Oh my god. No. Some girls, like, sometimes you just sneak up behind us and we're like, who the fuck is that? And we don't
I
even
love
look
doing
at
that.
you.
You just grab them by the throat and drag them.
I'm like, hello, sir. Like, and I'll say no and think, damn, he was hot, because it won't register. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, there's more calibrated ways of doing it, obviously. But
Yeah.
I think if you have even like a sliver of social skills, like you'll be able to know how to do it in like a calibrated manner, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think
men
that's true. I think
often
approaching
don't.
women is hard. I think
It's
approaching women
hard.
without being creepy is hard, and I think a lot of guys
Yeah.
who even guys who are really attractive and have some social awareness aren't always going to know how to approach a woman in the best circumstances.
I mean, you see a girl sitting at a bar and you're like, hey, can I get you a drink? Or hey, what's up? Like, is it really that deep?
It is, though, because we saw you before you did it. Okay, so we're creepy too. We feel you looking at us. We see it out of the corner of our eyes, and people will be like, oh, the only thing that's creepy is that he's ugly. Wrong. The only thing that keeps the situation creepy is the pausing, and this is what men fuck up. They pause way too long, and it automatically makes you look like a psychopath. I don't know how else to put it. And this is on hundreds, thousands of people. When I go up to them, hey, what could I get you to drink? I'm a bartender, and they're just like staring at my tits and shit, and I'm like, up here, buddy. Like, that's fucking creepy. Excuse my language, but
I feel like it'd be different depending on the guy who does it. I think you would interpret it differently.
No, it's all creepy. It's all fucking creepy.
I've seen it so many times the other way.
I believe you. I'm sure it is, but I've seen it on a larger scale. Las Vegas, Houston, Chicago, like millions of people, arguably. So I'm just saying, like, try to not get so discouraged to what you're seeing, because it might not be reflective of like the actual reality.
I think you have the wrong idea. Like, I'm not in the slightest discouraged.
I was gonna say, he doesn't sound discouraged. He sounds like he's saying, hey, I look good, so I'm fine, but it's the rest of you that are going to suck.
No, I mean,
I don't think so, because you're not putting your face on camera.
Right, for anonymous purposes. It's complicated.
Oh, stop. You've shown your face on my screen.
Yeah, but I tried to, like, that was only like
your
once.
Your voice sounds so familiar.
It was multiple times.
Yeah, but I try not to, obviously, you know.
Who is this? Is this
You don't know. He's been on my stream a bunch of times, but he's not.
The point is, like, it's not.
Weren't you in my DMs?
What are you talking about?
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I just want to fuck with you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So it's not like I'm disparaged or something. I'm pointing out these people who find different ways to cope need to kind of acknowledge the realities of dating and why they're not having success, rather than holding on to, like, you know, I don't know. It would just be such a shame for a guy to, like, you know, lead with his wallet the entire time and be used.
No one is this. I hate this.
But you're just trying to fuck a pretty girl. What's your point?
No one in my community is advocating that you lead with your wallet. Like, I don't know why you keep saying that as if it's
I don't
like
think he means it like you. I think he means me. I don't think he means you.
I don't think Torshaa is advocating for that either. I could be wrong, but I've never seen her say that.
Well, guys,
it does help. I'm broke as shit. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
I mean, I think it can help you.
I'm kidding.
Finding a gold digger, not for like anything.
All women are gold diggers. Like, what do you mean?
I don't agree with that either.
Then all men are sexist. It's the same thing. It's like you guys go for looks, women go for a multitude of things. The fact that you guys are shaking your head is crazy to me. I'm the one with the vagina. How? Like, what?
Right, but you saying that they go for a multitude of things is you disproving your own point that you're all gold diggers. Like, gold diggers. I didn't say we were gold
diggers. I'm saying, like, that's what, like, the thing is, because
just said we're all women are gold diggers.
No, I mean, like, we all have the gold digger thing in us because we look for resources.
The gold digger gene.
I don't mean like an actual fucking gold digger that you see.
All right, Torshaa, how much of a role does a guy's wallet, his money, play in your decision to sleep with him? What percentage?
No.
None?
That's not how it works. No,
so then all women are not gold diggers.
Hold on. No, I'm saying, like, all women want a guy that has a secure job.
She's saying they all have the propensity to be gold diggers.
Well, there's a difference.
You guys are being autistic. Like, a gold digger just being extreme.
You said it.
I know, because I was playing the
serial killer. Sure. there's a difference between wanting a guy who has a secure job and being a gold digger, which is primarily
Okay, whatever. You're arguing on semantics. It was a play on words.
Really
Relax.
important semantics.
Oh my God.
Hey,
okay,
Tom,
then
I think you're a serial killer. Why do you say that? Well, you're serially streaming, and basically, when I say
shut
serial
up.
killer, I mean that you're like serially doing one activity often.
You're so annoying. Shut up.
Tom, that's semantics, bro. Okay.
No,
you knew what I meant when I said serial killer.
yes.
Yeah, I think these things help. Like they can help. Yeah, money, status, whatever. But if you don't pass the threshold of looks, it won't matter. That is like the main point. You know, we can argue about. You think it's bullshit? Also, the job thing. I've been broke for like a while in the past. Not a problem at all. It has nothing to do with your success.
No,
in the short term.
girls will fuck the broke guys. I'm not saying they wouldn't. They would just rather you have money.
That's sure, but like what matters more is your genetics. I mean,
they'll have sex with you, but they're not gonna.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
That's not true. I've been broke and I've been in relationships. I mean, we would rather the girl that's anal, but we're not gonna. It's not gonna be a deal breaker if she doesn't.
Right. We'd rather a girl look like Megan Fox, but there's only so many Megan Foxes on the planet.
Exactly. Exactly. Same idea. That's what I'm saying.
There's a difference between what we would prefer and what's a deal breaker for us, right?
But the
deal breakers are
I wouldn't like it if my girlfriend like fucking cleaned my house every day in the panties, right? But I'm not going to break up with that.
Wait. Okay, you're moving the goal. First of all, what the fuck? That is irrelevant. Irrelevant, Alex.
Torshaa, I will pay for your Lyme test if you clean my house every day in your panties.
I love cleaning. I would do it so well. I would get the baseboards and shit. But I'm not doing it.
I don't think you would, Torshaa. I don't think you have the cleaning skills. You have to prove it to me.
Oh, he's spinning some game right now, Torshaa. How is it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I don't find. I hate negs. I think it's bullshit. Like my confidence is fine. I don't have low self-esteem. You can't prey on me, and I don't need to prove myself to you. Anything else?
No.
I'm gonna text you a photo of my very dirty apartment, and you're gonna tell me that you can look at that without doing something.
Do I look like the fucking help, Alex? Don't answer that.
Okay, let's go back to the discussion. So
I love this shit.
where do we?
So I was gonna say everything that I've looked at, like women's taste for looks stays the same, but how much it matters, like they'll have a range of like, they'll date like a 7 to a 10 on looks, right? But the range of how much it matters is going to change based on short-term or long-term dating. But that just means that it's in a different order within the priorities. So for short term, they just want to have sex or they just want to like, hang out, Netflix and chill, that sort of stuff. The looks move up, but the range of like looks stay the same. For guys, range of looks completely dramatically change for short term. If they just want to have sex, they'll go anywhere from like a 5 to a 10. But if they're looking for somebody to be in a relationship with, it's going to change all of a sudden to like 8 to 10 or something.
I don't think that's true at all.
I fundamentally disagree with the short term, so I'm out of this one. Like,
I think a lot of guys.
But I don't believe in it.
This is
I kind of agree with Tom
data
there.
seems to show, but yeah.
I agree with Tom. I think a lot of guys will just like fuck just to fuck, but for a relationship, they'll pick a higher quality, like prettier woman.
Every guy's got that one that they're embarrassed of.
Maybe by a small percentage, but I don't think a guy's going to be fucking 3s and then dating 8s. I don't think that's that common.
No, it's just that the range is wider. I think.
I could see it.
Yes.
Typically, most guys have like the guys who are able to date 8s or guys who have options. The guys who have options are typically not fucking like really disgusting like creatures that they see.
It depends on what's available in the moment.
Right.
That's the kind of the
Sometimes
point.
But there's also a lot
higher.
of guys who date like really busted girls. I've seen the first,
which is a mistake.
Yeah,
and usually I call it out, and I tell them like, "What are you doing? Like, get a hotter girl." If they're like at a higher caliber than the woman, by a substantial margin.
Do you guys think men underestimate their ability to get hotter women? Like, let's say they're 7 and they've just been dating 4s. I don't know, but they could get
some overestimate and some underestimate.
I think that they like overly underestimate their attraction or their looks.
Some of them do, like the Blackpillers, but some are like overly confident and like overestimate. Yeah.
But
some people just need a reality check. Like you can't. Your height is
so
measurable. You can measure your height. There's no like, oh, I think I'm 6'4" or 6'5". Like you can measure that. And in terms of facial attractiveness, there's plenty of ways you can measure that as well. So
I think, yeah, just get a bunch of black doors to rig your face. I mean, I do think just saying that looks don't matter is just as cringy as saying looks are the only things that matter, the main things that matter. I think they're both really cringy positions.
Yeah, it's
I
like
mean, it is what it
insulting.
is.
It's like the difference between saying we should have like 100% tax rate and 0% tax rate. They're both really cringy positions. You need taxes, but they shouldn't be like fucking 70%. Like,
Tom, do you want to add on something? I feel like you're normally. Let's hear it. We love Tom.
I gotta run to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
The point is that the looks thing just gets you in the door. Like, and then from there, it's like minor amounts of social skills. But the thing that holds her there is like your
I
good
think you're
looks.
dramatic.
Hmm?
I think you're dramatic.
well, he's kind of like on the other extreme end of that spectrum.
I know. I just think you're dramatic. You can have a dramatic take and be hot. It's like, it's not like it doesn't exist.
I am still flabbergasted though how you say that you acknowledge you had much better social skills than Jake, right? So I'm not pulling
Me?
that on my ass. No, looks.
Oh.
But then at the same time, you're gonna say it wasn't really a factor. Like, how do you know if it was a factor or not? Like, we did not interview the girls. We did not we didn't have any kind of process to determine how much social skills, how much it was gained. It's just purely your speculation that you're
It's
better.
not speculation. Anyone with eyeballs can see. He's saying canned lines, like stupid, cringy, weird shit.
Right, that's
I'm
his
just having like a
I mean, I
normal
could tell you
convo.
right
Wait, but
now.
you're just talking about social skills right now. Yeah.
But listen, I'm just having a normal convo. He's talking like a robot, okay? I don't think normal robot means
You
my
kind of
skills
talk
are,
like a robot, to be
Well,
fair.
first of all,
Well,
to be fair, he
unfair,
wasn't
unfair.
talking like a robot, but you did display better social skills. So all the stuff you're supplying, you're like, yeah, man, but like, you know, like he was like a robot. I was like normal. Yeah, that means that you have better social skills. Do you think girls are not going to look at that? Like, how are you going to say it's all looks, but at the same time,
He's supposed to be the guy who had
You're so
really
mean,
solid
Alex.
game. You acknowledge
that
this.
has nothing to do with anything. If
No, but-
he could be the god of the pickup community if in that competition his social skills weren't that good. That's the only thing that matters.
This
I
is
think you
exactly the
have to
cope
be
I was
kind
worried
of
about.
weird. Oh, stop it.
I was worried that they were trying to say the guy who was supposed to have really good game, I would have better game than him. Like, that's
Who
the only
was-
way they can rationalize it, you know, in their skull.
I don't know what
think
you
that-
guys are talking about. So it's
I don't.
just
It's
you
just
two.
it's just a competition we did, but I haven't seen anyone say that Jake had good social skills during that interdynamic, or that he had better social skills than you. I haven't really heard too many people make that argument. I think he had a better attitude than you, but I think in terms of like execution, your social
Can I be
skills.
the
were
judge?
generally better.
Can we watch it?
Oh my God.
It's really long. I can send you a link after Torshaa. It's like a 3-hour stream.
But Torshaa, the thing is,
Okay.
I'm just talking to these girls normally, you know, just like get
What's
to know you
normal?
stuff. What do you mean? Like, you just go up to her, you say, hey, what's up? Da-da-da. You start talking about where you're from.
Boring.
I know, it's boring. But this girl started, like, multiple girls, like, one girl just, like, kissed me. Another one, like, I went for a kiss.
Okay, it was a
Another
peck on the lips. It was a peck on the lips.
No,
It's
no,
not
no, no.
like these girls were making.
The point
out
is,
with you.
Jake got nothing even close to that. Like, no
You were-
remote sexual interest, nothing like that.
Wait, this
Wait,
was
but
the
how
first
can you dismiss the possibility that it was your superior social skills?
Bro, like, this is
because he
just, like,
warmed her up. Duh.
this is so funny to me. Bro, your social skills got you a kiss, bro, not your genes. Like, it's so funny to me hearing
Well,
this.
how do you know that your social skills? I'm not saying it's all or nothing. How do you know your social skills didn't play any kind of substantial role?
I'm not
in
saying
that?
it didn't play any role at all. Like, I'm having a normal combo that's better than
How do you
sounding
know
like-
it didn't play a noticeable role? Like, what do you think it is? 50-50, 70-30, 80-20? Like,
It's not a percentage thing, homie. It's she likes your looks. Now you don't fuck it up by being an autist. And so you just talk to her and then it's easy from there, you know?
I mean, aren't we all?
Are we all what?
Never mind.
Autistic? Some
Yeah.
people more than others, yeah.
Right. Like I feel like it's a spectrum.
Oh my
It
God.
is a spectrum, but I don't know.
I feel like it's not that hard to have a normal combo with a girl. I wouldn't consider that game, you know? It's just like conversing.
What do you do? No, because if you have, I think all conversation with the opposite sex, if you're both attracted to each other, just initially, like it is game. Isn't it all game?
no, it's not all game.
Do you really want to become friends with us? Okay.
No, he's talking about that. Like, sometimes, like one chick finds you so attractive that basically your looks carry you, and your game is like not that significant, right?
I think
And-
game is huge.
Oh,
Like,
I think game is huge too. Yeah, but
I
it's
can
not-
literally feel it in my body. You either have it or you don't, but you can certainly fix it. You know, it's like
Here's-
chemistry.
I'm gonna steal man Looks4L's argument. You know how he would respond to that? He would say
What?
that that's because you're so attracted to the guy's looks that's why it's having a halo effect. So you make.
What if I wasn't looking at them? What if it was over text? What if it was like I couldn't see them? I can't see the facial
I
expression.
don't
You
know
have a
how
mental
he-
image.
I
You
don't
don't
know
have a
how he
mental
was
image over text, obviously, like of this person.
I mean, I just don't really think in pictures, to be honest with you. Like I see
That's
words.
every girl ever. I don't care about looks. Just be
No,
confident. and hold
no,
praying
no. Like
voice.
Alex
no one's
knows
saying
I'll be dead honest. Like,
Mhm.
and as I've been like understanding just what game is for the past 4 years, like I can certainly tell when guys have it and when they don't. It's very not easy.
And you can
but
also
it's
tell
Oh.
when a hideous versus handsome man approaches you, and how your
Sure,
responses
but-
will be different, obviously.
right. But like game is something you can learn. It's not genetic. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
Thank you for
I
making
mean,
that.
I don't
Right.
think there's a harm in trying to improve it. My concern is it's just going to leave them feeling more hopeless when it
Actually,
doesn't
I'll
work.
die on this
no,
hill and say, just like you think there's a halo effect, I think there's a game effect.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
like
That's
if
what
you
Tom
don't
was saying
feel
earlier.
anything, even if they piss you off, questionable. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'll shut up though. You guys take the
Well,
stage.
that's what Tom was saying earlier, but the question is like to which extent, right? Like my
Right.
position is just like something around like 50-50. Looks probably thinks like 90-10 or 100-0. Tom thinks it's more like 30.
It's like 80-90, like around there.
Okay.
80,
You're
90.
starting-
Like a
you're starting-
small
you're starting to
degree
come
of-
around a little bit.
So they don't even need to really speak.
They
Like,
don't.
that's
You'll
wild.
notice they've ran
You
experiments
do.
online.
No, women fall in love with what they hear.
Fall in
You
love.
don't-
We're not talking about love right now. We're talking about guys pulling girls. You don't need to say all that.
Yeah,
It doesn't
no,
even
that's
really matter.
but men fall in love with what they see. It's just a saying. I
See,
think
but
it's
you guys
true.
think I don't know. I
But
don't
looks,
like
if
this
it was
virtue
just
signaling.
if it was mainly looks or just looks, why are you doing the 3-4 lines of like banter or whatever? Why not just go straight for the kill? Like, what's
It's
the
just
point?
like
Are you
a
talking to me?
socially accepted type of thing. Why do we wear clothes on the street? Like, what do you mean? So we
Right,
don't go to
but
jail,
you're
I guess.
saying
But
looks should just carry you all the way. So why can't you just be even more direct? Like, why do
I
you
mean,
have
I've
to?
tried
Well,
that
he
too.
did say there was 10%.
You want to hear my opening
so-
line that's worked like probably like 30,
Yeah.
40% of the time? I would be like, respectfully making sure you don't walk right tomorrow. And I've gotten a 30-40% success rate from sending that.
I would
mean
think that you're
30%
gonna
of the girls-
kidnap me.
I mean, it's like kind of a funny thing to say, you know, but like at
Yeah.
the
When you
same
say
time,
30,
it's very
40%.
direct.
Do you mean 30%, 40% of girls responded, or you mean you fucked 30% of the girls you sent that text to?
Oh, you're talking like responses versus. Well, usually when they respond to something like that, they're down. So out of the ones that responded, it was like 70%.
No, I'm asking you: is it like you send that text, or you that opener? Are you saying
in
30% of
person.
girls that get that text fuck you?
30%. I think it's around there.
How'd you come up with that?
I'm
What
having
do you
a hard
mean? I
time.
just thought it was funny. By the way, don't steal that line. It's mine.
Hey, you dropped something. Your standards, hi, I'm Tori. That's my favorite. It's a good one.
Torshaa likes me already.
I don't really believe
No.
that you're closing. I think it might be working well for you, but 30% of your banging just
Well, you have to
massive-
understand. In my bio, it says like not bio, but you know how they have like short term, long term, whatever. So maybe it's screening out girls who are
Women.
already down for the short term thing. So like maybe that's why it's higher. I don't know. But the point is, you can go even more direct,
Girl,
like what I've
mhm.
described, and it works. They might give you a little shit back and forth, like how many girls does this work on? Tee blah blah blah.
Yeah,
You work through
it's
that,
just
and then you can.
All right,
still
I think there's only one way to settle this. One of us needs to start a looks account. We need to try this line, see what the success rate is.
Wait,
I've
should we
already
go-
done it. I can
what-
share you my fucking interactions, but like only with you. I don't want it to be like, you know.
Yeah, send me a
What?
screen
No,
report.
no, Tom and me. What the fuck? Or Tom and I? What the hell?
Well, I'm trying to be like more anonymous, sort of. I
Yo,
don't
can we take a quick look at one clip from the competition? Because I think a few people in chat want to see it. We didn't see
Which
it.
clip?
I don't know, just any. I'm just
Me?
gonna pick a random one from the
I wanted to
competition.
see it.
Pick the one with. Actually, okay.
Let's just
Halfway
pick a random one. The competition.
Okay, so what's going on?
Vanessa, so what are you guys telling?
We're gonna pick a clip of like them approaching girls during the competition. We'll do one of Jake and one of Looks. I'll just gonna pick a random one so it doesn't seem like I'm cherry picking. So I just randomly clicked on this. Let's just go to the beginning where we can see what happened. Okay.
Also, like, where's
This
the
is the
receipt?
second one. You can show mine first, and then his. This is the friend referral one.
Okay.
Yeah, like around there.
Okay. This is the
Is
first
this
one.
Miami?
Go for
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the thing. Looks, I didn't push it after that. I finished the conversation and I dipped out.
This one was good. Congrats, bro.
I'm saying, dude, you like.
Oh,
just
stop.
fucking-
Nothing
Skip,
wrong
skip,
with
skip
pushing
forward.
shit. Don't be a little.
No, this one was solid. I didn't give him any shit on this one because he like, it was good.
No, I should have asked the number.
Alex close. Okay, wait. Is this Alex chose?
So this is his friend referral. That at the time I let you guys know what happened, and then Jake went on.
Wait,
What happened?
so you did
Oh,
not
yeah.
approach the same girls that
He
we
did.
just watched?
No, we both approached the same girl. I told you guys about it in person. You guys recall this? I remember Jake was like, "Fuck it, I'm down," and then we both approached. So I went to one. She referred me to her friend. I got her number.
No. Finish the Brazilian one. That's what he's talking about.
Oh, Brazilian. Yeah, so I approached Brazilian, and she said she had a boyfriend as well. We just don't have footage of it.
Oh, why do we not have the footage of it?
I don't know, dude. We couldn't find it. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So now we're moving on to a different set of girls, right?
Yeah, new set.
Okay. All right. So that one was 0-0. Okay.
You're
Yeah.
So let's keep
Right now he has
I'll wait
0.5.
for the time.
We should have like a scorecard or something.
I mean, it's pretty easy, man. 0.50.
Okay.
Speed it up more.
Each other.
We're just funny.
Started.
What's your name?
It's like thieves.
James.
We have a 3-day long inside joke going on.
Tell me. Now I need to be part of the inside joke.
It's like here's crack game. We call it thieves. Yeah, so he's rooming with us, but we don't really know him. So
Okay.
we're just like laughing him.
Right, you're trying to be nice, but then you gotta talk about it. Yeah. I know how it goes.
He's like pretty boy. And we're like,
Right.
it's like a Zac Efron wannabe.
Pretty boy, by the way.
So
Pretty
we're
boy.
just laughing the fuck out of him.
My name's Damon. You think I look like Salvatore? Have you seen
Damien Salvatore?
Damon Salvatore?
Damien from Big Brothers?
Yeah, you know it?
No, I don't know. I don't think you look like him. But you have nice eyes.
Yeah.
Privacy.
So I think we're talking names here
Yeah.
because I mentioned my name, and then she was like, "Wait a second."
Right.
You're from a different mother.
His name's like Ian Summerlander.
You're Summerlander, yeah. Yeah. What's your name?
Samantha.
Samantha. Cheers.
Cheers. Where are you from?
I just
From California.
He's California too. Why is everyone like California? Like Beebs is from California.
the guy.
Beebs is from there. It's from
Yeah.
California. And we don't fuck with Beebs.
Oh my god.
Wait, what part are you from?
Northern.
Oh, like what northern?
Like like SF, kind of by SF.
Where?
San Francisco. Close to there.
Okay.
We good? We good?
Yeah, we're good. We get that.
How about
I'm
you?
from Jersey.
Oh, nice. That's not even that far, right?
From Philly. Like Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever been?
It's affiliate? No, but I've heard quite a bit
But
about
like, we never been to San Francisco. Go Birds, right?
it. Yeah, go for it.
Hey, man.
Dude, you can tell. So obvious.
Fuck the Dolphins. All my homies say the
I'm
Dolphins.
just crashing this joint, bro. Like, I don't know, bro. Shoot it down.
This is
How long are you?
lovely, dog.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
What about you?
I'm leaving on Monday.
I'm going to see you in Miami for nursing. So we're staying with her, and then we're going to go to Torshaa.
Okay.
It's happening tomorrow.
Wait, so what time do you leave? Like tomorrow?
7 to like 5 o'clock before we leave.
In the morning or night?
No, nice.
Okay. Okay, let me grab your number. We can like maybe do something.
Okay, yes, sir. I have a boyfriend, but she's single.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, right now I remember. So the all right. So pretty decent social skills.
Well,
Honestly.
hold on. You need to play it all the way through. Now
There's
that you
more.
started.
Girl,
Because we need to show mine and then
the
his.
girl in the
Yeah.
green, but he got the number of the other girl, and then I think we agreed to it in the moment. That
Yeah.
was fine.
We agreed to it, and it was fine. That's why I'm like, they better not try to pull some shit. Because I remember Jake was like, "Fuck it, I'm down."
Yeah, so here's the general concept.
Wait, can you really quickly acknowledge that we didn't pull any shit?
Pulling it. Yeah, that was good. I applaud you on that. Although you did try to make me look bad in the first one. I remember the first
I'm
short
so
stream.
confused.
Wait,
So
you
the
will
point is we
acknowledge
both
that the
approached-
competition was legit, that there was no hired actors,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there was no funny business of any kind. Okay.
Right. Nothing like that, at least.
For the audience. Anytime there was a dispute or like something that needed to be accommodated, did I accommodate Looks? Pretty much. Name one time I didn't.
Hold on. Let me think for a second. I mean, I guess that's good enough. We'll
How
get to it
many
at the
times
to the
did
end of
you
the clip.
fucking box me in?
Well, I'll explain. So you went on multiple 7-minute interactions. I didn't Hold on.
Uh-huh.
say anything on that. We're
You
still good
stepped
allowed.
into one of them. We have that on
When you did it multiple
Alex,
times.
pause
because
it.
we were
Wait,
shooting
let's just get through as we get to it. What?
Just scroll till near the end of the interaction, like a little bit more, and then you can see like how Jake was when he approached them. I think it's important.
Yeah.
to see.
Do I need to like add a descriptive last name like
Yes, yes.
before?
Thick girl with a nice top. With the green and the blonde.
I'm kind of drunk here.
I don't know how to spell, bro.
That's good. That's good.
I don't know how to spell, bro.
Wait, can you pause?
Listen, you gotta stop going for literate. What?
You picked this book girl, by the way. People were like saying that.
Well, I picked the more attractive one out of the two.
No, they were both like not but you know.
They
Ray,
weren't
you
attractive?
fucking challenged every single
No, I
one.
don't think so.
The dispute or like.
Oh, the
Yeah,
girl
that
with green was
like-
totally fine.
Beats is from California.
Yeah.
And Beats is from
This girl? What was wrong with
Yeah,
her?
the blonde's pretty.
Yeah, the blonde's pretty. What do you? I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I
Okay.
can't see her. I don't know.
The face wasn't. The
She's
face
got
wasn't
long
good.
hair.
Yeah, I can't see her face. She like everything else looks like she's going
Yeah,
to be
everything else
attractive.
is okay,
but
but like.
Face irrelevant.
Yeah. I remember guys told me that you can tell by like the way the behind of her looks, not even like her ass, but like her head. And I was like, no
a lot of
shit.
times they'll trick you.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll get
Yeah,
you.
Honestly,
yeah.
for me, body's like 98%, face is like 1 or 2%.
That's crazy. That's fucking crazy to me. Because anyone can get a good body, but not everyone can get a good face.
I could totally bang a chick with a busted face and a smoking body. Could never do it the other way around.
As long as she's not bitchy.
I
I feel like if she's bitchy and ugly, it's annoying.
Let's get to the Jake.
It's a gray area.
Yeah.
You fucking challenged every single one and complained about every single
Just
gray
skip
area
through,
on my
yeah.
side.
Hold on, I'll explain.
And then you quit
No.
early. If I known you were gonna quit early, then I would have.
Hold on. I granted you. So let me make something clear. You went on multiple. Just skip
It's a gray
forward a bit.
You
Yeah.
fucking
Updating the score after every
What
interaction.
was that? What was that about? It's black. Haha. All right. Let's get
That's
back.
silly. What do you mean?
Well, 1.5 to half a point. Yes.
Mhm. That's
get the lead. We know. Oh, you can't say what happened, but we all know what happened. Hey, you're fucking really style, and I want to come meet you.
Wait, what?
I thought you had really dope style, and I want to come meet you. I'm Jake.
How cringy
Jake.
is that, Tom? Tom, tell me how
what,
cringy.
what are you guys celebrating? How do you know each other?
Work.
Work? Yeah. What do you do?
I think that's my Marty.
What's going on?
We work at Juice. Job.
Yeah. What's that?
You don't want to know.
Oh yeah.
You don't. How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
27.
A little older than that. I'm 30.
You absolutely don't want to know. She's 21. She's like me.
Oh yeah.
Like,
You graduated. You graduated at 21.
I'm graduating in May.
Congratulations. That's early. That's early. So I'm curious about something. Okay. So tell me, you've been here. How long have you been here? You lived in Miami?
Visiting. Work's been great.
Oh yeah. Where are you from originally?
Jersey. We got a record.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm from Boston.
Massachusetts?
Of course.
Boston, New York?
Boston, New York.
She fucked up earlier. I was fucked up, and they're like,
Oh, yeah?
Boston? I love New York.
Oh yeah.
I do love New York.
You know what it is though? People are different up where we live versus down.
He kind of
That's what I was
sounds.
gonna ask you. I was gonna be like, why?
He's like a used car salesman.
Boston,
Yeah,
well,
he's
you know,
coming
New
on
Jersey.
a little
little-
strong. He's definitely
like a-
coming on very strong.
No, he sounds gay, and I mean that with the
Yes.
utmost respect. I used to work in a gay nightclub, and I know when guys would come up to me and I was like, I'm not sure if they're gay. I felt a
No,
lot
I don't
safer.
think. I don't think he comes off as gay. I think his energy is like too scattered. He doesn't come off as like calm and grounded.
I'm
Like,
he's,
telling
like,
you what he
trying way
sounds
too
like.
hard.
I'm a
So
girl.
when you say these sounds like that, he's coming off in like an overly friendly way.
Right.
Like you
that-
have
that
dope
A at
style.
the
I
end.
wanted to meet you. Like that. It does sound like he's like.
like the
All right, well, let me
California
try to
accent.
give you an analogy. So, okay, let me try to do an example. Hey, Torshaa, how's it going? It's been a really long time since we talked. Yeah, how you been? Right?
Oh
That-
yeah, that's
comes
what he
off very-
sounds like.
That comes off very
trust me.
different than like, hey, what's
Stop
up,
it.
Torshaa? It's been a long time. What's been
I
going on
thought
here?
about this for a long time before I decided to say it because I didn't even know if I should say that, but I know it's a thing, so I did. So don't tell me that it's not true. I'm telling you, he sounds gay, which
Yeah,
is
he does sound
fine.
slightly
It's
gay.
just it's
Hold
a
on, hold on,
California
hold on.
accent.
Hold on. He doesn't
No.
sound like he's gay, but the way he's approaching her is like a gay guy. would.
Feminine,
That's
like
what you're
feminine.
saying, right?
Exactly, my brothers.
Yeah,
That
like
is
the
gay.
is he from
Okay, I
San
guess we
Francisco?
agree to disagree on the gay thing. I don't think he comes off as gay. I just think his
Like
energy is like too scattered.
flamboyant.
I think actually
Right.
the best way of describing it is he sounds nervous.
He's
Yeah.
just trying way too hard.
He's trying
because
too hard.
That's
Right,
what
but
coming on
to
too
be
strong.
fair though, looks, you have to acknowledge this, is that you had a few drinks, he did not. So having a few drinks,
Bro,
that's
come
gonna be an
on.
advantage.
I had like 1.5.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I
Like,
mean,
you know, I always talk in a calm and grounded kind of manner. Like, don't try to make a cope with like 1 or 2 drinks.
I'm
Do
not
you
trying to
want
make a,
me-
I'm
you
not,
want
I'm
me
not,
to
I'm not
say
trying
what
to say
you
that's
you
the whole
sounded
reason.
like it too. You gave
I'm
me
just trying to say
the
that there's a little bit of a advantage if you can. do
Torshaa,
that.
have you noticed how the women were responding to me versus him? I mean, it's like a night and day.
We just saw
difference.
one woman, honestly, so
the
far.
these girls right now are responding really well to him.
No, she's laughing at
No,
it.
they are not.
They're not.
Oh,
they are
I
not.
can't hear it. I'm just like,
Oh, you
I,
can't hear
It's
it?
no,
Well,
no,
well,
hearing,
well,
it, hearing it does not matter. You can look at the body
Yeah.
language. The girl in green is like, "Oh my goodness, this is cringe. I need to
Right.
get out of here." Her
Exactly.
friend keeps grabbing her,
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
please don't leave me with this guy."
Right,
Like,
exactly,
it
and
I
that's
was
is-
actually
so,
what
I
happened,
was
Tom.
so focused on the voice. I wasn't even really watching. Like, that's so interesting how guys pick up on body language. I don't. I'm like,
course.
this fucking voice, but that just goes to show you game matters.
I mean, not being.
All right, let's
an
wait.
expert
Let's just
or
finish.
something.
Let's just finish the video and then we can discuss it. We're
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
done.
Keep.
There's more.
What do you think of him? It's different. Yeah. How so? Yeah. Yeah. You know what it is though? It's because you got this like confidence to you. I saw it. You know.
Oh my god, so cringe.
I gotta talk to this girl. Why?
Lots of privacy.
That's not necessarily him, though, is it?
Yeah, how much?
Why?
For what?
Where someone's so
I'm too
bitchy.
old for her.
Who says that?
I know her. She's my best.
Yeah. You think I'm too?
Quiet. You're really nice.
Yeah.
Quiet. She likes the younger.
You like to date younger men?
Yeah.
She's lying.
One fucking
just made that
second.
up. They just made that up.
What guy? What,
No,
like,
she wants to get
He's
away.
like 20,
Yes.
25. She's like, it's too late. I guess.
Yeah, this is the
I
like.
think it's
you know,
funny.
some-
Like you're answering for her though.
No, she knows
Oh
me.
yeah.
Look how she said no and holds
Yeah.
her friend. She wants to get the fuck away from this weirdo, dude. Like,
Did you hear how
immediately.
she was
Wait,
like,
hang on.
you go for them younger? And she was like, yeah. Like, that was a
Yeah.
lie. Yeah, is not good.
It is. It's the like. Send me a call me.
Get
in
me
3
away.
minutes and tell me there's an emergency sort of.
All right, let's
Yeah.
go line by line. Tom, who do you think had better social skills in that situation?
I would say the first guy for sure.
Okay, Torshaa, who do you think had better social skills?
They were like the same to me, but I guess based on the body language, he did better the first one. But he
Right,
gave
the
me like
interest.
drug your drink vibes.
Oh my
Not
God,
gonna
here we
lie.
go.
Yeah,
he's
like
not,
boat
he's not
shoes.
perfect, but I do think he did better.
I know. I'm just saying, but it was also quieter over there, and it sounded like they were less intoxicated. I'm a bartender.
No, it was like 5 minutes apart, but I do think that
That's
the
it?
one, yeah, it was like really close back to back. I do think the one thing that, and again, you guys know I love Jake, but in this specific situation, he came off a lot more calm, a lot more grounded, and a lot
Really?
more confident. Jake seemed to me in this one situation a bit nervous and a bit scattered. And I'm not gonna I'm not gonna claim that was the reason for the different results 100%, but that was definitely a significant part of the reason. I think you can't dismiss that as something that's insignificant because it's a pretty substantial factor.
I don't know. It's because right off the bat, she kind of laughed as soon as he approached them. I mean, to be fair, he did say a canned line right away, but you could
What'd he
tell the
say?
interest was not there. He was
Yeah,
like,
how do you know it wasn't because of the
Torshaa,
line?
this is what he said. He was like, "Oh, I
I'm
just had to
asking.
tell you guys, I fucking love your style." That's what he said.
Oh
He
yeah,
said-
I hate
no,
I
he
hate
said,
the
"You have a
fashion
great
shit.
style, and I had to come and meet
Come
you."
say hi.
That's
Yeah,
what he said.
super
Yeah,
cringe.
I had to meet you. Oh,
Maybe
no.
maybe that's what added
Tom,
to
this
it.
How do you know?
what
How do you know she didn't laugh because of that?
By the
Yeah,
way, this is the guy who
get
claimed to
told
have
that all
superb
the
game.
time.
I just wanted to make
Who
that clear.
claimed that?
What are you talking about? Everyone was saying Jake was supposed to be the guy with good game. Even he was saying it. You were backing him, and this is what
Honestly,
he displayed. You know,
Honestly,
I
I think
said
you
that I
guys
think
just got
James-
lucky.
I said that I think Jake did pretty well in the speed dates, but doesn't always translate to real life. I do think he did substantially better in the speed dates than he did, in this competition. That's understandable. People get nervous and whatnot. But yeah,
He
he's a lot more
didn't look
confident.
nervous.
No, to
Well,
me,
so
he felt
he was-
very nervous.
He had great
Yeah,
posture.
so he was talking very loud, and he was
Mhm.
very talking very quickly. So Looks
Yeah.
is like talking
Mhm.
very slowly, which is going to
Yeah.
come off as more confident,
Right.
like he knows what he's
Yeah,
doing.
he was
He's been here
slower,
before.
yeah.
That's yes, and so he doesn't look like he's like really trying really hard. That's going to
I'm
come
not,
off as a
yeah.
lot more attractive. Whereas the other
Yeah.
guy, he looks like he's really trying hard, and
Yeah, I
that's gonna
see it now.
it looks needy.
Yeah.
the reason why I'm not trying is because I'm more confident to like my face and height. You know, like that's where I get the confidence from because I know the initial traction is there. So it's like just not messing it up, just having
That's
a
that.
normal convo.
Well, the reason for the
Mm,
confidence is largely irrelevant to the fact that if you are more confident.
Well,
right?
no, because if you have
Are you a
confidence and it's
psychopath?
grounded, if it's grounded,
I could be more confident because I fucking I don't know, I took a big shit earlier in the day, right? But if I am more
Oh.
confident,
Really?
it's the only
because
thing
your
that's-
genes are what you're showing to these women. You can't show how you.
Do you
just took a
even
shit.
like women?
Yes, I actually do. This
You
is not
said-
about me.
No,
Like,
it
you're not
is.
understanding.
Because like you give me the vibe that you like secretly hate us,
No.
but
I
you're
love
like
Alex.
you fuck them.
Alex
Shame
can
on you.
confirm. He knows.
No, I don't think he hates women or anything like that. He doesn't seem like.
You sound very mad at them.
No, I don't.
I'm not mad. What are you
I don't.
talking about?
I won't
Why
say that
is it
about-
okay? I'm a bitch, right? And I'm telling you this entire time.
I like how Torshaa's gone from woman to bitch.
I'm always a cunt.
Let's keep this going for another half an hour. She'll go from woman to bitch to dirty
Oh,
little
here we
slut.
go. Alex is going to try to control the fucking frame.
All that the Blackpill is telling you how much looks matter. That has nothing to do with not liking women at all.
Well,
I
first
think
of
that
all,
you're going
about
to
your
take like the
attitude.
black pill.
first of all, a lot of the
as-
black
yeah,
pillars are super bitter and resentful and weird.
They're
I
bitter
think
and
they're
resentful
fun.
if they're not getting women. But
I
if you're on
think
the
the
right
black
side
pill.
of the coin, it's
I
different.
think you're going to be offended by the black pill stuff, as
Me?
though you are. Yes, I think that.
No,
like,
I think
you
they're
that
fun.
women. Well, that's fine. You can think they're fun, but he's making women sound very shallow, like they don't care about anything else but
Yeah.
looks. Like it's very surface level, and so you're gonna like. He
Women
does sound
are
jaded,
shallow,
and
though.
You're gonna think.
All right,
that he
hang on,
hates
Stefan.
women
You
for
can't
that.
interrupt if I'm going to have you on.
I think everybody's kind of shallow.
Of course. And that's why people virtue signal, because they don't want to appear shallow. It's seen as
Yeah.
like a negative, you know?
Oh, I see. So you're just saying it like straight matter of fact. You don't have an emotion behind it.
Of course
Okay.
not. No, it's
Okay,
a matter
got
of
it.
fact thing.
Not to like make it personal, but this is a legitimate question I have. If
Yeah.
you're so confident, you earlier said that I'm confident because I know they're going to like my face, right?
Right.
You know, you say like, hey, listen, like there's no way I could lose because I'm better looking. Why were you so resistant to doing the day game part of the competition? Because it
I
stands
told
to
you.
reason that they would still like your face during the daytime, like unless they only like your face after like 8 p.m.
I told you this multiple times. I think it's
Dating
less
is hard.
calibrated to approach
Yeah.
during the day. In a nighttime setting, it's a calibrated way to approach women. That's why.
That, even if that's true,
It is true. What do you mean?
Doesn't it stand to reason that if girls like your face, then they'll like your face during the daytime, so it doesn't matter?
Yeah, technically it wouldn't matter, but I personally find it strange to talk to women during the day. It's not like a calibrated setting. It has to
Were
do
you
with, like,
drinking?
I had like a beer or two.
It matters. It
No, it
really
doesn't.
does.
A beer or
Yes,
two.
it does.
He's a lightweight.
I always say one beer is good.
Dude,
for
a
me.
Wait,
beer
you
is
had a
like-
beer? I thought you had at least 2 beers. I could be
No,
wrong.
it was like 1 or 2. I think I
only
had 2
need one.
second night. But
Day
that's not
game
the
only
point.
works if you give them like that out, like that time frame. You're like, hey, can I just have like 5 seconds? I'm running to work, but then I'm like, okay, what? Then
Right,
I'll
but
listen.
the
but
thing
other
is,
than
like,
that-
when girls are at a club or bar or whatever, they're there to socialize, right? Have fun. When they're just out and about walking or at a mall or whatever, it's not their intent to like converse with others. I don't want to
Who
like.
gives
bother-
a fuck?
I
when
give
who
a
said
fuck,
this?
dude. I give a
It's
fuck.
called
I don't wanna
being
be
he's
bothered.
totally
calibrated,
right.
When you
Alex.
see how like that like actually makes you closer to a blue pillar than
See,
for
but I don't
example,
care how you consider it. That's just like how I feel.
But it's
I don't
like,
No, but he's
oh,
right, because women, if they feel like tons of guys are always bothering them, and sometimes they just want to be able to do their business, they want to be able to just shop, or they want to be able to just work out, they don't want guys always bothering them, then it feels like uncomfortable to go up and get up in their space when they're busy with something. You want to do it when it's like he said, when it's calibrated.
Right.
I
Exactly.
think it's
Exactly.
so
Do you think-
interesting because women always talk about how men stop catcalling them at 12. So it's like this idea that women get catcalled like that, like through their peak and stuff, and during the day is delusional, to be honest.
No,
Wait,
they
Tom,
stop
do you
doing
think-
it
do
because
you
they don't
think-
want to end
do you
up on
think-
TikTok.
Tom, do you think that
Yeah, no, I used to think that too, but then I was talking to my sister who's like 4 years older, and then I have another sister who's 2 years older, and they were saying the same thing. And it could have been social. I agree with you. It could have been the change and stuff, or it could be age. But every time I talk to like Gen Z too, they say the same thing, and that everything stops at 12. And I think there's an uncomfortable thing not to be discussed right now, but I don't know necessarily. I think like guys just don't have the balls to do it during the day. There's more eyes
Yeah,
on
a
you.
lot of-
People
a
are
lot- a lot of
watching
guys
you.
don't. Yeah.
What if a
Well,
girl
yeah,
they're
reacts
too,
to that?
they're
Do you
too
think- Tom,
intimidated.
Wait. I have a question for Tom. Tom,
Mhm.
do you think it's never appropriate to approach a girl during the daytime?
It's not that it's inappropriate, it's that it's going to be harder. You have to have
Yeah.
like more things go right for you. So
Oh.
earlier we were talking about like people being at the gym together or at work together or things like this. Those are times when you can start to build a rapport with somebody by saying like,
Yeah,
hey,
more
as you walk
time.
past them,
Right.
maybe eventually learn their name, maybe eventually say, hey, you know, I like your shoes or something. Like you over and over just make sure that you're saying things to them during the daytime so that eventually you can stop and have a conversation with them and maybe ask for their number. But at night, it's a lot easier to like cold approach somebody at a bar or like at, you know, social events where that's kind of what, you know, people are looking for.
They're there for that.
Do you think what do you think
And
is the difference in terms of difficulty between day game and night game, like at a bar versus like at the mall? Like, would you say it's like 50% more difficult, 2x, 5x, 10x more difficult?
For like cold, for like
Yeah.
just a
Cold
cold bar.
approaching either at a bar or cold approaching at the mall. What do you think is the increase in difficulty?
I'd probably like 25% more difficult, 25-30%.
Oh yeah, I would probably agree with that. Yeah,
I feel like
25%
there's
more
less.
difficult.
I take it back. I feel like there's less people watching you though. Like if you're at a mall during the day, I don't know.
It's
That's
not about
weird.
the people
There's
watching
pros
you.
and cons, Torshaa. There's pros and cons.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a
Um,
lot less guys approaching during the day, so technically you have less competition. However, there's a much higher chance that you'll meet a girl who's either busy or has a boyfriend or whatever, right? So there's pros and cons to it.
And
You're
it's less
more
expected. So
You're
if it's
more
less
likely to
expected,
get a
there's a lot
single
more
girl
pressure.
at night, but it's also more
Yeah,
likely
true.
that you've been approached like 20 times.
But do girls ever pick up on you picking up multiple women? Like if you either rejected them or you got their number and they're like, hey, you're picking up another girl. Like, have you ever been like caught? I'm trying to ask.
Yeah,
It doesn't really happen if you know what you're doing.
Oh, really? Okay.
even if it happens, it's like it's probably only a good thing because she knows you pull a lot of girls.
Sure, I
So,
could see
you
that.
know,
Pre-selection.
right.
No, look, so
I
if a
hate
girl
us.
sees you like mass approaching, like right
Not
after you
mass
Mass
took her-
approaching.
But let's
yeah.
say I'm like with another girl at the time and I see one I talked to like an hour ago, like she'll know what's up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that can
Oh,
go.
I guess when you word
go
it
on
like
people's
that,
Right.
I don't
It's
know
all in
why.
the
I was
wording.
like- yeah, it
Alex
really
likes
is.
to call
I was
it
like,
frame control, as they like to
oh,
say.
oh, here we go.
No, I don't believe in that cringe stuff.
Of course you don't.
Yeah, frame control
But yeah.
doesn't exist.
The
No,
only
I
reason why I
think it does.
mentioned I don't want to do
This
day game
frame
is
control
because
not
it's
exist.
like not a calibrated setting, highly likelihood for a boyfriend, and don't want to bother them. That's why. Versus all those are practically eliminated in night game. I mean, you can't eliminate for boyfriends, obviously, completely, but it's less likely, right? So if we're doing a challenge where we're approaching girls and we want to isolate for all factors, a bar nighttime setting is much better.
You guys need to stop
no one
like
was saying
leaving
it's
after
not.
they say a boyfriend. Like it's
Need to
cringy
stop
for me to
what?
say that. Stop like you guys literally only respect the girl when she says I have a boyfriend and half the time it's fake. Like, you
Right,
know?
no, I agree. It's either
You
she
should
doesn't
keep
like
going.
your face or you
Yeah.
have a boyfriend, so it doesn't matter which one. You kind
Do you
of
guys
taking out.
not keep going if you
Some guys-
assume he's in the building?
Torshaa, some of these guys argue that you should actually kind of push past that because it's a quote unquote objection. And I find that ridiculous to be
No,
honest.
I
Well,
think you
it really
should.
depends on the
Well,
situation.
it depends how she answers it.
Right,
yeah,
right.
there's,
said
there's a
she has a
massive
boy-
difference
Like
between.
if she says,
Oh, I don't
I have a
know."
boyfriend, like, oh, I have a boyfriend, she's fucking lying.
Right.
No,
I mean,
but
she's
But
lying
if she,
with what
but
she
if
said
she
anyway.
immediately is like, I have a boyfriend, like like startled, like get away from me, like her boyfriend's in the building and he'll probably whoop your ass and her.
but there
Get
are
it.
women
No,
who
no one's gonna whip your ass, but yeah, like there's a big
Yeah.
difference between how she says it, like, "Oh, I don't know, I kind of have a boyfriend." Be like, "Hey, listen,
Oh.
I have a boyfriend." Okay, no, like those two are very different.
What's wrong with just being like, I don't like you? Bye.
Well, girls don't say that because they can have the threat of
There's
violence.
a threat of
right?
physical violence.
Like
yeah.
that's a
Hit
huge
me, I
risk.
dare you. I'm
That's
just kidding,
why
I'm kidding,
women
I'm kidding.
virtue signal all the time. If a girl was
Just
like,
to-
"Oh, you're butt ugly," she'll probably get her ass like beat.
Just to be
potentially,
clear,
yeah.
that threat doesn't really exist. Like it's not a real threat. It's something that they're afraid of.
It's
But
conditioned.
very, very rare that a guy actually like goes off and starts becoming violent because he got rejected. It's-
Right, but you
All-
could argue the
all
same
it takes
thing.
all it takes is once for a
Right.
girl.
I've
I mean, you
I've
could say
had
the
a
same
few
about
guys
rape or
get
something.
violent
So
when I was
fear
behind the
is real,
bar.
but the threat is not really real.
What
Yeah,
what
but they interpret it
what
as a
happened,
threat, you know.
Torshaa?
Hmm?
Oh, that's a cute little stuff.
Oh,
animal you got
it's
there.
a bear. It's a bear.
What happened? Well, you said they got violent. What exactly happened?
I don't want to like talk about it on camera. They were intoxicated. I'm a bartender, so it's like I don't really hold people when they're under the influence like that to their persona.
Mhm.
I guess. I've seen too much
Okay.
shit.
I don't blame girls for like giving like a BS excuse.
I mean, I was working. I like had to say something.
No, I understand. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, I don't blame girls for like saying I have a boyfriend, you know, just to be on the safe side. Like, I
Right.
get-
Mhm.
I
But
mean,
what
when
I'm saying
unattractive
is,
women
why
approach
is
me,
but when
say
I
the same.
oh sorry, I was just gonna say if guys only leave when they say I have a boyfriend, it makes you as a collective look like shit. You
Hmm.
only listen when there's a
It's
guy.
mostly, yeah, when a guy has kind of claimed you as property in a way. That's how they interpret it. Like, I'm not saying that's how it is, but they interpret it. Oh,
Well, no,
another man
'cause
already has her. You know.
each individual girl will be like, well, I've tried to say I'm not interested. They're like, but you will be, or whatever they do.
That's the cringe part. They don't understand. You can't change it. Anyways, continue.
They
Who's
can.
they? I don't understand who this they is.
Like the whole pickup. Oh, game her, bro.
Unattractive
Lit,
men
bro.
can't change it.
Yes.
Unattractive men-
unattractive men.
Alex, I'm saying, like, long story short, the only time men will actually walk away from us when we're not interested is if we
I
use
understand.
the boyfriend.
I
Yeah,
understand.
that's all.
I get
But
it.
stop doing that. Pursue.
Yeah.
Weren't you just why that you're
Wait, what?
that's like conflicting information.
Yeah.
You can't
That's
say
what I'm
like
saying.
both
No, I'm
pursue
saying
it-
yes, I'm saying if you guys pursue as a collective, because most of the time it's a lie, then then women wouldn't have such a negative view of you guys when you only respect men when they're not even around. It's a meme. I don't know if you guys
I don't
are
that has
familiar
nothing to
with
do with
it.
respecting men. It has
don't
nothing to do with
respect
respecting men. It means that the woman is kind of off limits. I mean,
Right.
she's saying like I'm off
No, you
limits.
guys are looking at it from the wrong way. I'm saying, as a girl, if all guys approach me and they only leave me the fuck alone when I say I have a boyfriend, to me, that tells me most men are sexist. Get it?
You don't give women the
You guys,
autonomy to
I can't
reject
believe-
you.
No, I
Oh
think
wait,
that-
wait,
that-
wait. Okay,
that more
okay,
has
hold
to
on.
do-
Are you saying that we're walking
agree
away
with
because
what-
we're
I agree
afraid
with
of
it.
the boyfriend? Is that what you're saying?
You're thinking too hard into
No,
it.
Torshaa is saying like you're only respecting it because it's another man that kind of
Yeah,
has her,
it's
not
Yeah,
because he's
that's
not
what I'm
interested.
saying. It doesn't. That's not it. It
Yeah, I
has
don't think
nothing to
that's
do
it.
with the guy.
No,
It
that
has to
is
do
it
with
for the
No,
guys.
I
The one
hear you,
talking
but I'm
about.
saying it looks that way
Okay.
to most
No,
women.
for the
Right.
guys she's talking about, it is it because if they don't say I have a boyfriend, the guys are going to keep going and going and going.
Right.
I have
Yeah.
a boyfriend is the only thing that certain guys will.
Well, first of all, that's an extreme
Men are-
generality.
men are
A lot of guys
piranhas.
feel like
No,
if you're like,
I'm
hey,
I'm speaking on the average guy, the average
Yeah.
thirsty guy that only stops if he gets an outright
Right.
blatant rejection.
Yeah.
yeah, I
If
don't
he gets
know
any-
what the
If he gets
increase
anything
in
less, a lot of guys will keep going. Oh, can we just be
Yeah.
friends?
Oh my
Oh,
god.
can I get your Instagram?
So
Oh, can I get your Snapchat? Oh, do you
yeah,
have Facebook?
I think some guys
Like,
will do that even if they hear that she has a boyfriend. I don't know what
Instagram's
the
good.
increase, but I will agree that it's more likely that a guy will.
Well,
quit.
Torshaa, you've also probably heard guys who will continue even past the boyfriend as well.
I-
They'll be
I
like,
think the
"Oh, where he
reason-
at?" or something.
I
You
think
know
the
what?
reason-
If they hesitated and paused and were nervous, I'm like, damn, they got balls. Like,
But I think the
damn.
reason that guys are more likely to quit with that is because it's more of like the shoe on the other side type of thing. Because they're like, well, if I had a girlfriend, I wouldn't want, her to cheat on me. So it's like more of like they can empathize with the boyfriend
Oh,
easier.
that makes sense.
I think
Yeah.
that's probably what it is.
But a lot of guys wouldn't even care. Like if a girl was in a relationship, they would still bang her. Let's be real. Like it's just the risk of like getting
It's
shot or
true.
something by the boyfriend is kind of high.
It does happen. Yeah.
I've never,
you're
I've never
right.
really worried about that.
There
You
was
just
something
don't
I
wanna
take
wanted to
that
ask
risk.
you, Alex.
What?
There was something I wanted to ask you and I forgot. It's something that men do as a collective, and I want to know why, but I forgot what it was. Something else. It'll come to me. Go ahead.
is
Sorry.
this something good or bad?
Funny?
Oh.
I think it was. I'm trying. Oh yeah. Okay. Why is it so? I don't use dating apps. But I do use them for YouTube videos. Why is it that if I don't connect my Instagram, I still get DMs from dudes like, "Are you just trying to get followers?" I'm like, "No, I don't even have it connected." Isn't like why
Maybe
do
you've
they?
had it connected in the past. Who
They're,
knows?
they're
No,
bitter and they're pissed off because other girls did that to him. To
What
them,
do I
and so
say
they're-
to them
that's
to
it.
like break that line
You
of
ignore
Well,
thinking?
You say the truth. You say no. I'm just using it for a YouTube video.
Yeah, that's what I said, and they were like, "Oh, you have it connected?" I was like, "No, I don't." And they're like, "Oh, you're right, my bad." And I'm
I
like,
would never use Tinder just for followers. I would totally use it for YouTube videos.
right. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, no. But do girls try to get followers on these apps?
All
Is
the
that like
time.
a common
sometimes.
thing?
Yeah.
They all
How
have
do you
that shit
know?
linked. What do you mean? They all have it linked.
It doesn't necessarily mean
But doesn't
follows
that
me.
verify who they are as a person?
Come
Isn't
on,
that
you're not reading through the
very-
lines here.
You
You're not reading
verify
through the
through
lines.
your.
Looks,
Okay.
what percentage of girls do you think are using Tinder as a way to get followers on Instagram?
Not directly for it, but like that's part of it, you know. So like
Yeah.
I'd say
Where-
like probably
a third of
a
them.
third
at
of them
least.
have it in their bio at
You
least.
guys
from what I've
know
seen.
that like people
That largely has
buy
to do
their
with
followers.
verification.
No, because you can verify with the blue check
No.
thing on Tinder. You know, like it has nothing to do with verification.
I've
Well,
heard tons
first of
of
all, that's
girls
only
literally
very
say
recent.
that
No,
they do.
taking the picture with your thumb up and your name or whatever.
Right.
Oh
like, to
yeah.
verify you.
That's how
a
you
lot of
verify,
people do
yeah.
that.
Well,
Right,
girls
but I
on,
still
like, the
think I
whatever
feel more
podcast-
comfortable meeting up with a girl if I see her Instagram. Go ahead.
Well, you want to
Sorry,
just
I-
make sure that she's not overweight, right?
There's
Wait,
been
what were-
girls on the
Yeah.
Whatever podcast. There's been girls on Fresh and Fit that have all said that they only do Tinder just as an advertisement.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a
only-
massive
For
sample
OnlyFans.
bias.
It
That's
is.
a lot of
massive,
OnlyFans.
But we're talking
massive
about
sample
Instagram
bias.
models. So those are the only people who would do it is Instagram models, right?
Wait, guys, on the panel.
Massive sample bias. It's like
How
saying,
many
yeah,
OnlyFans have you bought from a Tinder advertisement just out of curiosity? Oh, liars. Plus
What?
one.
What did you say?
How many OnlyFans have you purchased after seeing their Tinder profile?
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
fuck
Tinder?
all of them.
72.
I've never paid for OnlyFans. my whole
Yeah,
life.
none on Tinder.
I don't even really know how it works.
No, but I a third of girls on Tinder do have like OnlyFans or
A third
It could
of
be a
girls do not have
combination of-
OnlyFans.
No. He's saying
No,
only
Wait, where
Alex,
do you
I'm
live?
not
Instagram
Alex, I'm not
or
in
something like
Miami.
that.
I'm in a
Oh,
I'm in a
Instagram.
second
Okay,
tier
maybe
city. I'm
yeah,
in a-
Instagram, sure, but
Some
not
sort of
OnlyFans.
link, that gives them more clout, followers, money, whatever. 1/3.
No,
I'd
but
say,
I
give or
think
take.
my city is a good sample because it's not Miami, it's not Los Angeles, it's not Vegas. It's a regular city,
Where is it?
regular suburban girls, blue collar girls. A lot of them. Again, my college was the #1 sugar baby college in the country. So
Which
it's not
one?
just Miami. I'm not saying that it's as common as Fresh and Fit make it out to be. I'm just saying
Was
Like
it
as
1%
far as-
Texas?
of girls. It's less than 1% of girls on Tinder have actually.
Wait,
have
but where
money.
do you live? You didn't say.
I live in Philly. It's
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
yeah, I
that's
don't live
true.
in Vegas or New York or LA or Miami like Alex. So outside of those big cities,
True.
like medium-sized cities, regular blue-collar cities,
Philly
a
has
lot
a
of those
lot of
girls-
beautiful women, like
Yeah.
hot women, but they're not
and like a lot of girls come here like for college, like
Yeah.
UPenn and Villanova, like a lot of international people come
Yeah.
to Philly for like grad school and law school or whatever. And like a lot
Yeah,
of the
perfect.
suburbs are the richest suburbs in the country, even though the city is the poorest city in the country.
No way.
So a lot of the women are beautiful in the suburbs. Like there's a lot of hot ass women in like the good parts of the city and shit. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
the way
Alex
it is in
is
Georgia
decent.
as well. Like Metro Atlanta, the suburbs is where like all the best looking girls are going to be, but none of them have
Really?
like Instagram. And if they do, they're like private Instagrams that they don't, that they just use for their friends.
Atlanta could be thrown into Miami, like as another city. A lot of the bottle girls are like have hundreds of thousands of followers. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah, guys, I do want to wrap up because we're going on almost 3 hours. Let's just do like closing thoughts. Or is there anything else you want to discuss, Tom or Torshaa?
No, this was fun.
Yeah, this was fun.
Follow me at Torshaa 2 A's. I need
Here we go.
subscribers. Yeah.
She needs it for her Lyme test. All right, Tom, do you want to plug your channel too?
Yeah, it's Tomfoolery Show on YouTube, youtube.com/Tomfoolery Show. I stream on Kick now, Rumble, Twitch, a bunch of other channels once in a while, but I stream 7 days a week, about 8 to 10 hours each stream. So come
He's
check me
super
out.
based.
That's a lot of streaming. All right, man. Yeah, let's we can do a discussion
one
in
thing,
the future
Alex.
again. Yeah,
Cool.
Alex,
Yay.
your point about Jake having less game than looks, I agree with it, but it was a mitigating factor. It accounted for maybe 10 to 20%.
we really just don't know that. This is pure
because a
speculation.
lot of those interactions, Jake got blown out before his social skills even came
exactly.
into play.
Actually, it
got
wasn't really
blown
that many where he got blown out right away. Like looks got blown
He
out
got
like 70%
walked
of
away
the time
from
right away
it.
too.
He
That's not
ignored.
true. It's just like
You got
60%.
and to settle this, why don't you go up against looks? That's like the perfect
I've told him I'm like down to do it, but I think he considers Austin like a top 5% PUA. All right, bye.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know why this question keeps coming up. I've answered it so many times. Okay, here's why. Because there's absolutely zero in it for me. So let's say I destroy looks. Is that going to get me any kind of anything? No. Like his audience is my audience. So like the kind of people that
the
have been going up
Blackpill
against,
wrong though.
you
would win the you would win the debate, Alex.
No,
for
because the
once
black
and for
no,
all,
no
you-
one, because the black bills would just say it's fake, it's staged, that I rigged it, that I hired.
No,
the
I
girls
would
to
agree.
go-
I would give you your credit.
That would be what all the black bills would say. I see this all the time. So anyway, so I like every time like, bro, show receipts. I show receipts like it's fake, bro. So that's exactly what happened. So anyway, so the kind of people I'm interested in doing pickup competitions with are people like Top V, RSD Tyler, like people who have channels. So it's like if I win, I can pick up like some of their audience, or it could be people I really, really hate, like Ganstar, because I would just get personal satisfaction from it. I don't hate
Ganstar
looks.
might win though.
I'm not going to get any kind of
Ganstar
personal
might win.
satisfaction from beating him, and
Well,
also
you're not gonna beat me, like not even close.
Okay,
But
if you
okay.
say so. So I'm not going to get any kind of like massive like personal satisfaction from beating him, and also I'm not going to get any kind of like there's no business reason for me to do it. So I'm going to have to dedicate a few days to this competition. I'd probably want to, because I haven't done cold approach in a while. I'll probably want to spend at least 3 or 4 days warming up beforehand. So this is basically taking a week out of my life, paying my camera guy for absolutely nothing. Just makes absolutely
Well,
no sense.
you said you're down to do the me and Austin Summers one, right? Because he agreed when I chatted with him.
I'm down to host it, yeah, but that's because that requires a lot less work on my part to host versus compete.
But that'll be like the ultimate like mic drop,
For
right?
host, I just have to like show up there for one day versus this will require about a week worth of work. But yeah, I would host that since I already said I would. But I'm not gonna.
Well, you
I'm not
don't
gonna
have to.
take this time.
I just think
Oh,
it
well.
would be a unique like experiment because
I
like
don't know,
literally
man.
top 5 1% guy versus just tall good looking guy, you know, and then that would totally like annihilate like everything. I think.
I mean, Austin. I do think Austin has better game than me, and I do think I'm probably better looking than him. So that would probably be more interesting from that that perspective.
Sure. I mean, I think you guys are quite similar.
I
You're
think you
taller,
and
but
you
he's,
and
like,
Austin are about equal. I think overall.
I agree.
What in terms of game or in terms of looks?
No, in terms of looks, I
Looks.
think most chicks would rate you about equal.
Yeah, I agree as well.
It can't.
Okay.
It couldn't be that. Or maybe like
Okay,
what,
well,
a quarter of
like maybe he is. I don't know. I don't really give a shit about that. But yeah, the point is that yes, I would host that because that's like a lot easier for me than actually doing competition myself. But if Gamstar ever comes through, or any of the bigger YouTubers like Tyler, Todd, like Austin Dunham, any one of those dudes, I would do it.
Heard.
Oh, Austin Dunham with Moggy. Oh, come on, Alex.
No way you would do it against
That's
Austin.
not
Dunham.
fair.
Yeah, I would totally do it against Austin Dunham. If there's an upside for me, if I win, I can pick up some of his audience, right?
Okay, but what if you lose?
You
Like,
wouldn't win,
not gonna
Alex.
win.
Well, if I
Let me be
lose, then I
realistic.
lose. It's not losing is not the end of the world. Like, okay, I lose, so what?
I mean, okay.
Well, if that would prove that would be a Blackpill win if you won.
And,
No,
so,
and
I mean, go
Austin
ahead,
Dunham
do it.
is Blackpill too. He understands
go
how
ahead, do
important it is.
Alex. do
Okay,
it.
first of all, when I asked Austin Dunham himself, he said that no, I don't consider myself black belt. That's the first thing. Second of all, is that
He's a
again,
hybrid technically.
you guys like anytime this is like a really cringy position I think you guys have is like anytime anyone acknowledges that looks play a role, you guys see it as a black belt W. But in reality, 95% of the population acknowledges that looks play a role. It's very uncommon for people to say looks don't matter at all. That doesn't make it a black belt W. That just makes it like this is what normies think. The difference
No,
is that
but it would be
you black pillars think that looks are by far the main thing that matters or the only things that matter. And that's what we're disagreeing with, right? So in order for this competition, like this premise to work, you would need one guy who has clearly way better social skills than the other guy, but for him to be substantially worse looking than the other guy. That's how you would look at this. If you have two guys who have similar level social skills, but one of them is better looking, that doesn't really prove anything.
All right,
But Austin,
I get ahead.
Austin Dunham doesn't really
Right there.
use game. He has red, has Blackpill, but like in terms of how he approaches women, he doesn't use much more game than looks. Like
Yeah,
he may
also-
use a little teeny bit more like.
Yeah,
formal
you guys don't understand what game means. Game isn't just like some.
No, I
some-
actually watched
some
Austin.
line.
I know. I sub.
line you
I
said.
like. No,
Well,
I sub to Austin's
Game is
channel.
your vibe. Game is your confidence. Game is your charisma. You can't just like choose to turn game on and off.
No, but
Let me-
Austin shows his receipts. He shows footage. I'm judging off of Austin's own channel with.
Well,
him
Austin Dunham
in a-
doesn't need any girls from Cold Approach. He told me he meets only from
And
social.
not
circles.
only does he only lead like mostly
No, but
online as
either
well.
way, that's still.
Yeah, sure. Austin Dunham has, I'm sure, does really, really well. I'm just saying he's not really a guy who does cold approach. He's done. I think he said he's never really done cold approach.
No, but that's what I'm saying. He doesn't. He's a good example of a black pill win because he's not going to use. He's not a pickup artist.
What does that have to do with
He would
anything?
be getting the girls based mostly off of his looks, whereas Austin or you or Marcus or whoever would be using a lot of in their interactions. They would be trying to use high level game, whereas Austin would be pretty much doing the same thing Looks is doing. So Austin would be a black pill win if he beats you, because you just said he's not even he doesn't even he cold approaches
only if I have substantially better social skills than him.
No, but I'm saying you would have a way better game than him. Based off the way
I don't know because I've never seen any infield of him. I'm not convinced I would have.
All he does is take off his shirt and walk by women and they touch his chest. He doesn't. He has less game than Looks.
You've never seen less game than Looks. You've never seen a video of him like doing cold approach.
Dude, Alex, he even talks about online.
Google the red pill.
Well, online, obviously, if we do just purely online, obviously he would win.
No, I'm saying like he uses such little game that he only talks to girls who message.
No, they walk around in Miami in person. They film him walking around in Miami. Him and FedEx Fearless and Steph is Cold and those guys.
Yeah,
when they link up in Miami, they walk around with their shirts off, and women walk up to them and touch their chest and.
Dude, no one is denying that being jacked or being good looking gives you an advantage when it comes to dating. Like,
but you just said it wouldn't be a black pill win. But I'm saying he's literally blatantly using his looks to carry him.
Well, no, it would unless.
So how is that not a black pill win?
Because it would only be a black pill because you have to isolate for factors. If he has similar social skills as me, it would not be a black pill win because 95% of the world acknowledges that looks matter to some degree. So if we have same level of social skills, we do the same amount of approaches, but he wins. Right? That's not a black pill W. It's only a black pill W if he has worse social skills than me.
No, but the game, you should have way better game than a basic guy that just focuses on gym and looks maxing. Again, he's not 100% black pill. He's a high.
I probably do, but I don't know. I have never seen him cold approach. I would need to see that in order to evaluate.
He's a looks maxing red piller. So technically,
I'm not comfortable saying I have better game than someone if I've never seen them approach or never seen a video of it. Like I would need to see that before I can evaluate that.
Well, I'm just telling you, he outright leans on his looks, and all of his videos are about.
You can lean on your looks. You can lean on your looks and still have. You can lean on your looks and still have good social.
In practice, he's arguably more black pilled than Looks because Looks just walks up and has a regular basic conversation, whereas FedEx Fearless and Austin Dunham are blatantly outright leading with their looks.
Bro, those are YouTube videos they're doing. That's not actually how
they literally. They lead with their looks. They may be half red pill. I'm just telling you, half their videos are about online dating, pictures, style.
That's 90% of my videos too.
Skincare, gym maxing, walking.
90% of my videos are about online dating too. That doesn't make
leading with your body.
Game versus like all physical things. Mostly.
No, I talk about photos all the time.
But photos are not physical. Like you're
Austin uses less game.
I have a whole bunch of videos about like improving your sexual market value too,
which I like, by the way. I talk
about all of that. Doesn't make me a black pillar. Like I think we gotta get rid of this cringy idea that like anything that supports the narrative that looks matters a black pill W. Like it's not.
No,
that's
but when I say it about you, I'm trolling. I'm trolling when I say it about you. When I say it about Austin and FedEx Fearless, I say it because I actually like their channels and I watch them. And even though they're red pill, technically they're practical. So most of their advice, they're talking about what they do when they walk up to women in real life. It's not a lot of game.
Dunham, according to himself, told me that he's not meeting any girls by walking up to them. He's meeting girls through social circles.
No, but I'm saying it could be warm approach. It doesn't have to be cold approach. I meet girls every day, but I don't do cold approach either. Like I can go to a bar and meet like a friend.
Right, but this would be a cold approach competition. So obviously, cold approach would matter. Anyway, we're going.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's my point. He's not good. He's not even good at cold approach.
You have no idea because you've never seen him do a cold approach.
He has a Patreon where he shows his receipts. He shows how he gets the girls.
Have you ever seen a video of him cold
approaching Dunham is arguably more black pilled in practice than Looks. Looks believes in a little bit of banter. Austin just takes his shirt off and walks in front of girls.
Do you really think that's what
how is that? How is that not Blackpill? That's not game.
Do you really think? Do you really think that's what he's doing to bang
That's leading
chicks?
with your looks. How is that not?
Do you really think? Okay. Do you really think that that's how his lays are coming from? Him taking his shirt off and walking around?
No, a lot of his lays are online.
Do you think that's something
shirt is
he does?
on
Do you
Tinder?
Stop! Don't talk over me.
A lot of his lays are on Tinder.
Wait, stop. Do you think that's something that he does for a video because he's gonna get a lot of views? I mean, like, use some common sense here, man. That's not how he's actually like banging his girls. He himself has said, again, I'm not banging your girls from cold approach, right? It's all social circle or online. It's not him taking his shirt off, walking around, and that's how he's banging like a good percentage of his girls. The fact of the matter is, you have never gone out with him and seen him do cold approach, and you have not seen a video of him doing cold approach because those videos don't exist. So we really have no fair way of evaluating whether he has good cold approach skills or not. We don't know.
A dating coach can't go up against somebody that doesn't even do cold approach. You're saying there that people, magically.
Yeah, there are people out there in this world who don't do cold approach who have better game than me. Sure. They're not.
So you're admitting that naturals are better than pickup artists.
No,
basically.
I'm admitting that there are
that's
some
what it
naturals.
sounds like.
Oh, you're so cringy, dude. I'm admitting that there are some naturals out there who don't do cold approach, who don't do pickup, who have better game than me. I'm not saying it's all naturals. I'm not even saying it's the majority of naturals. I'm saying I'm sure there's quite a few naturals that exist out there who probably have better game than me. Sure.
My point was that I gave one example, but there are dozens of examples because he devotes his channel to receipts online, and again, online is more looks based than any other environment. I was showing one of many points to illustrate that his approach with women is generally more looks focused than even Looks4L, who is a self-proclaimed black pillar. So even though overall, yes, he might be a red pillar, when it comes to closing, whether it's warm approach, whether it's Tinder, whether it's a content creator or his Instagram, most of it is based off of looks. And even his warm approach, he doesn't have to outright do it. Because
I'm gonna make a statement that I want to wrap up. You have no idea what he does on a date. You have no idea whether he's just like sitting there and he takes his shirt off. And
he shows his dates on Patreon. He literally tells you his dates. Like so you've seen videos of him what he does when the girl's back at his place, really? Yes, his most recent one not his most recent one, but the one I saw, the girl Snacks Chan, she's like a popular OnlyFans chick. He knew her before she was famous, and he reconnected with her after she started in OnlyFans, and now she's super famous or whatever.
So you saw Infield of their date.
Yeah, Austin did a vlog of, I think he went on like 2 dates with her, and she was kind of making him like take her serious. She kind of like.
Okay, did he show you a 30-second snippet, or did you get to see the whole date from start to finish?
It was like maybe an 11-minute video. He went the whole.
Right, but how much of that 11-minute video was there actually?
Because I don't have his Patreon, so I can't see the full unedited footage.
Well, if you don't know what's in it, then why are you using it?
I'm saying even the YouTube version, that's 11 minutes. He tells the entire story time.
There's a big difference between telling a story and seeing a video of what happened.
So why do I need to see a video of the date if he's telling an 11-minute story time of the OnlyFans chick? I could tell you her Instagram.
I could tell a 40-minute story how looks don't matter. That wouldn't make it true. Anyway,
he's more detailed than you or Indian PE in any of your receipts. I know he went on multiple dates with her, and
what does that have to do? He could have the best receipts in the world. What does that have to do with?
But you're talking about a 30-second clip. He told an 11-minute story with.
There's a big difference between telling a story
of multiple dates
and there's a big difference between telling a story and actually seeing what happened on the date. I severely doubt he's just rolling up.
He described what happened on the date. Okay. He could have smashed her, but she liked him. And she saw him as boyfriend material.
So do you know how many minutes of bantering he did? How much comfort he did? What did he do? Or did he just whip his dick out on the date? 30 seconds in.
Austin uses less banter than me, and I don't even think game matters.
Okay, anyway, all right. We're making zero progress here. This is just going.
He does light banter.
Okay. You have no idea what he does
on women. He focuses on women who are high interest, so there's not a lot. He screens out for logistics. There's not a lot.
Going in circles. All right, Stefan. Good time as always. Thanks for coming on. All right. Anyway, dude. Oh my god, this guy annoys the shit out of me sometimes. We're just going in circles over and over again. All right. Anyway, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that little debate. I feel like it started off pretty good. But yeah, just to like quickly chime in on this argument. I mean, yeah, like we have no idea what the fuck he does on dates. Maybe he just fucking whips his dick out. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. All right, yo, appreciate y'all. We'll be back either tomorrow night or Friday night. Friday night, I actually have some juicy ass fucking debate for you. So appreciate y'all and take it easy.